Yes, good morning. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. It's the day after the game before, and Tottenham snatch a very, very good point in Newcastle, a very tough place for most clubs to go. We got a point. Still, many people found just a million negatives, which is fine. It just goes to show that it's not points they want. They just want to see brilliant football. And that's fine. I think that Frank's going to have to put up with that. I think he's going to have to put up with that. Many of these fans are just going to get onto his back, whatever he does. I'm seeing really, really childish comments like, oh my God, we're celebrating a draw. Well, this is a tough away game. I'll tell you what I did, guys. Just now, I was going through the beginning of yesterday's watch along. And I went to the section where I asked, give me your score prediction for today. And it's so funny, isn't it? And I looked at the YouTubers' predictions for the scores. Nearly everyone said we were going to get battered. Then when we get a draw, they're all still moaning. Like I thought that was a really good draw. I thought that was a really hard-fought point. Again, is it amazing to watch? No, I appreciate that it's not. I appreciate that. But right now, I'm actually a bit confused as to the number of people who are really, really overrating these players and wondering why they're not good at passing. Listen, Frank's got to find a way to get us more active in the final third, to get more shots off. I completely understand that. But I thought last night, there was a lot of myths put to bed. So a lot of people come into the chat and they say, this is when I say that people just say things flippantly and they're sheep and they follow each other. I've seen all week, he's lost the dressing room. The players don't want to play for him. The players hate him. But it didn't look like that last night, did it? It didn't look like they had stopped playing for him or stopped fighting for him. I thought that was the most pleasing thing for me, that it was, let's see, what's the reaction, off the back of players fighting against Fulham, against each other, against booing, against the manager calling players out. I thought Vicario had a really good game, by the way, after the shit that he went through. And you sit there and you think to yourself, are we in this position now where so many have made their minds up that it now doesn't matter what happens? They just want him out. I don't know. I think it's a real sad indictment, that we get a really good draw. Most people thought we were going to lose. And so many negative comments after the game. Like, I'm a bit baffled. I see people that are regularly on shows, regularly in chat rooms, talking about how poor the squad is, then going, oh, I don't like the way we play. And it's like, well, you kind of know why, right? Like, look, I was really pleased with the attitude yesterday. I was really pleased with the fight. I was really pleased with the energy levels. I think we're really poor on the football. I don't think that's going to change until you get better ball players in, until you get Maddison in there, Kulu in there, new signings in there. I don't think the whole ball retention issue is going to change. But we put in great effort and got a really good point. And what's important now is, of course, with football, you're only as good as your last result. I know it's such a cliche, but what's really important now is you've got Brentford at home. Now, this is not, excuse me, this is not an easy game. Brentford are not a bad team. I know our fans are really arrogant and we just go, we've got this crap team and this crap team and this crap. Listen, Brentford are a good team. They have been a team that have been building for years. They've put together their squad. Their recruitment is always very good. But what's important is we need to find a way, by hook or crook, to win that game. If you win that game, you could turn around and go, what a good week it's been. 4 points out of 6. one away to Newcastle, one at home to an informed Brentford, and then you move on to Slavia Prague. So there's green shoots. Now, if all anyone cares about at the beginning of a manager's tenure is the style, I get it. People are going to be really unhappy. I get it. I do. And this is why I tried to, I went on Sean's channel last night, love Sean to bits, but I found it really hard work with his panel because there's so many in there that don't want to appreciate we are 14 games into a manager's career, right, or tenure at Tottenham Hotspur. And I get it. I get it. But how many of you would have bitten my arm off yesterday afternoon for a point away at Newcastle? Tough. And this is a good point, Francis. This is a really good point. This is a Brentford team, by the way. And we'll look at that a little bit later. But it's a Brentford team that have beaten Newcastle, Liverpool, Man United. This is not a bad football team. I know we like to think that because our name is Tottenham, that we're better than everybody else. But this is not a bad football team. For me, the Brightons, the Brentfords, all of these teams, even Everton this season, all of these teams are getting better. And unfortunately, I think we're getting worse in terms of what we've bought for the squad. So I think it's going to be a tough game. I think it's just getting a bit mad. I think it's just getting a little bit mad. Listen, patience. I think patience is a huge virtue. Now, I'm going to be honest. Listen, there's been many things in my life I've been patient for that have never happened. And you just have to go, well, that's that, right? That's that. Look, what I did think was a real sad indictment of Spurs and maybe the internet yesterday was whenever Spurs went behind, my viewing numbers just went like that and the same old characters just come out. And then whenever we scored and went level, the numbers dropped. And and you're thinking, surely the numbers would go up because but I thought it was a real sad indictment of our fan base. I think it was a real sad indictment of the internet. And I think last night showed me the number of liars in our fan base. I think it showed the number of liars that they say they want to win. They say they want to get better. They say they want to see one thing. But then when they see it, they get really annoyed with it. It's interesting. I really want to see what happens with this manager. I want to see him evolve. Of course, he's got to evolve. I want to see any manager evolve. I want to see what happens when this manager evolves, but with his own squad. I want to see this squad start to become more his than the previous managers and see what really happens. Do you know what I mean? That's what I want to see. And if it doesn't work, I think we can all turn around and go, well, look, you've got no leg to stand on, Mr. Frank. You know what I mean? You've got no leg to stand on. You've had 13, 14 players over 3, 4, 5 windows. But right now, I'm finding it very difficult to. This squad has been recycled so many times with the same. Sorry, the managers have been recycled so many times with a lot of the same players. That I don't know at what point does a manager actually get the chance to say, right, this is now my squad. Like I'd like to see Thomas Frank bring in over the next couple of windows 3 or 4 midfielders, change the midfield, and then we can turn around and go, this is just the way he plays, or hang on, look how much better it is with his own midfielders. And that's what I want to see. It doesn't mean everyone has to want to see that. I know everyone immediately wants to see a pattern of play and what are we doing? And yet I get it. I do get it. But I am looking at, I mean, this is, I'll tell you what, Carl, I'll tell you what, I agree. I thought Sarr was poor last night. I remember in the summer, our fans going, why would you get Gallagher? He's no better than Sarr. And I'm like, whoa, what? I'm like, what? I'm like, Conor Gallagher there, Sarr is down here. But look, I think that kind of sums it up. I mean, that kind of sums it up, Carl, that That's the caliber of midfielder we've got right now. So I don't expect us to be brilliant. I really don't. Look, I genuinely believe if you have, listen, and again, I don't go overboard about Kulu. I think Kulu's a good player, right? Right. I think, again, mate, listen, we don't do this childish stuff here. So you can go away. We don't do this crap stuff. We don't do that here. So you can go away. There's other channels that want to shit on everything. You can go and watch them. Thank you. Um, we I think when you get Kulusevski, Madison back into this team, you're going to see a lot better ball retention. Now, that doesn't fix the midfield, but what it does fix is going forward, it gives you more ball retention. For example, Brennan Johnson, we know, has awful ball retention. So when the ball um, when the ball goes to Brennan Johnson, you know it's invariably going to be lost, right? Because he can't hold it up. He's not technically good enough, and his ability to beat a man is pretty much non-existent. Now, that's not me saying that, oh my God, Kulu is amazing. I think Kulu's a good player. I've never gone overboard about him. I know there are Spurs fans that say he's one of the best midfielders in the league. I'm not one of those guys. But what I do think he does is he holds on to the ball, sometimes too long, but I think he holds on to the ball. And it allows you to get a bit higher up the pitch, and it allows you to bring others into the game. James Maddison, we know, is technically brilliant. We know that. That's never been an issue with James Maddison. We know that boy, you give him the ball in tight spaces, he is a footballer. He is a footballer. When we talk about these other midfielders that are runners, that he is a footballer, right? So that's me looking at it without any new signings. Now, if you can add a few of his own players, if you said that Morgan Rogers was in this squad, he wanted Morgan Gibbs-White. So you're seeing he wanted people that are good on the ball, but powerful. So that's what I want to see. That's what I really, really want to see from Spurs. And that's something that we can't see unless time is given. We can't see that in the short term. So I am like everyone else. I am like everyone else. I can't sit here and say, oh my God, this is amazing to watch. It's not. I mean, this is what makes me laugh. People, what I'm seeing a lot over the internet, and I watch snippets of other shows. I see loads of people going in chat rooms and lying about what I've actually said. Because what I try to, doesn't always come off. I try to break down the football opinion with a little bit of perspective from both. So I try and break it down. What a lot of people do is like what that guy just did when he's crap. I mean, that's not a football opinion, is it? That's not like if I say I don't rate Brennan Johnson, I'm trying to explain why. I don't rate him because it's the technical side of his game. It's when the ball goes into him. Does he have the ability to hold the ball up? Does he have the ability to bring others into play? He doesn't. But I could just go, he's crap. Fine. Okay, he's crap. Like it's not really football conversation, is it? It's one of those things where over the years I've learned on YouTube, right? And this is probably why I call people out, and maybe I do it too much, is that people just say really silly things where there's no thought that's gone into their brain. And I truly worry about how have those people grown up? Have they had an education? Like, people just say some really stupid stuff. Here's one. How are Brentford's new managers doing better than Frank? Well, in what way are Brentford's new managers doing better than Frank? They are 12th in the table. In what way? I mean, where were Brentford last season? It's really silly. Thomas Frank was at Brentford for 7 years and built a club with the owners and that. He built a club. He built a squad. He worked with a scouting network. And then suddenly Keith Andrews picks it up from where it is mid-table and people going, how's he doing better? And it's like, well, hang on. Look. And again, when I said that people just say stupid stuff, like, excuses for what, mate? Again, you've got to please engage this before these type. Excuses for what? Finish that sentence. What excuses are being made? I have come onto this show and said so many times, right? But it's not an outside opinion. It's not an outside opinion. When you look at it, Brentford did a wonderful job building and growing with Frank. Without Thomas Frank, Brentford wouldn't be a Premier League football team. So it's almost like it's almost like people have, like, you might be an Arsenal fan, but you've got the internet. You can see what Frank did, where he took them from and to, right? And people just go, Keith Andrews better. It's like, whoa, hang on. Sorry, Keith Andrews isn't picking them up mid-table in the Championship, is he? So, look, it's agreed. It's like people's bodies of work is never allowed to get appreciated. But Ken, in what context am I talking about? Again, in what context? I'm calm today. I'm just so frustrated with people. In what context have I said this, Ken? You're another one that you just write silly things with no context. Now give me a paragraph as to what I'm making excuses for. I think that Thomas Frank needs time. Listen to the words coming out of my mouth. The football isn't great, but I think Thomas Frank, any manager, needs time. We've got a lot of players that I think need to go. We've got a lot of players that I think need to come in. And this manager is going to have to work through this. He's joined a club that are in the Champions League, so we're playing every 3 days. So he's going to have limited time to implement what he wants, but he's going to have to find a way to do it, right? And like any manager, he'll be judged on results over time. I'm not sure what excuses I'm making. Our fan base constantly say that these players aren't good enough. Now suddenly they're good enough for Frank. It doesn't make sense, Ken. I think that we've got a battling team. I think that we've got players capable of working hard, workmanlike performances, driving forward. But I don't think we've got that quality that will outplay teams. I don't think we've got that quality where it's nice, short, sharp football, interchange football. I don't think, I know we haven't. See, again, look, unfortunately, this is the problem. Now he's turning into a dickhead, isn't he? See, look, he needs time. Doesn't every manager need time? Doesn't every... Look, I'm going to stop bringing up your comments. You're now turning into a troll, right? I hate it. And do you know what, guys? I could have put my mortgage on this dickhead here bringing up Ange within a couple of sentences. I don't... let's address this. Right? You hated Ange, now it's backfired. What's backfired? We were 17th in the league. I don't know what's backfired. People are making it out like Frank's taken us from top 4 to mid-table. Like, I don't know what's backfired on me. I keep hearing this. And do you know what? Again, as I said, right? People like this who have got no brain cells in their head, probably never played football in their life, never coached, just an idiot fan who just says stupid things, right? Even if Thomas Frank doesn't work out, what's that got to do with Ange? It doesn't mean Ange was the right guy. Like, why is everyone so straight-pathed? If Frank doesn't work out, gutted, it should have been Ange. Well, why are those two things the same? It's mad. Exactly, my mate. Right? I tell you what, exactly. Backfired how? I mean, Angepostecoglou, first of all, I don't think he should have been sacked from Forest. I think it was too quick. But backfired how? He's gone to Nottingham Forest, implemented the same style of play, not won a game of football, and been sacked within 8 games. And I feel like my mum would be really disappointed in me. I'm not going to lie, because she always told me, don't argue with stupid. And here I am arguing with stupid people. I don't understand. Every time something doesn't go the way everyone wants at Spurs, it's just Ange's name. Ange. I don't know what that's got to do with anything. I truly don't. He was sacked for a reason. Same way, if Frank gets sacked, he will get sacked for a reason, and we move to the next manager. But does that mean that when the next manager comes in, all anyone's going to talk about is Frank? Is this the Is this the level of sophistication with our fan base that it's just going to be Iriola's in, he's doing bad, should have kept Frank? Like it's just getting a tad bit silly, isn't it? We are in December, right? His last game managing Spurs was in May. Can we possibly move on and not having to do anything? I don't know. This huge obsession with it. I get it, right? When people obsess over the Gareth Bales, the Ginolas, the Harry Kanes, like people that were true greats. I get it, but we're obsessing over, let's be fair, we were left in 17th. And now all I ever hear whenever we concede a goal, Ange wouldn't have done that, Ange wouldn't have done that, Ange wouldn't, Ange. It's like, oh my God, can we just be grown-ups? And people like Ken, unfortunately, they don't understand, right? So I'll introduce that. So my uncle was the head of the academy at Charlton Athletic for a very, very long time, right? For a very, very long time, right? He's worked for the FA. He's worked for 2 or 3 other clubs in an advisory capacity within coaching and implementing philosophies. And he always says to me, like, he watches YouTube and he's just like, he's so baffled as to the number of people who don't actually understand football. He said the number of people who don't seem to understand that when you pick up a club, there's a lot of work to do. That when you pick up a club, everyone thinks you're just picking up 11 players that go on a pitch. He said there's so much that goes in behind it. There's so much that goes in behind it from a mentality perspective, a player perspective, a coaching perspective, an ethos perspective, an attitude perspective. All of these different legacy issues that managers pick up. This isn't Frank. Most managers will pick this up. Most managers will pick up a job when the club is in a bad place, right? Now, if we use the Keith Andrews example, Keith Andrews has picked up Brentford at their best, hasn't he? Keith Andrews has picked up Brentford at their best. Brentford have been a Championship, League One, League Two club for years and years, for decades and decades and decades. Frank's got them to their highest point ever now in the Premier League. Keith Andrews picks that up and he's doing a wonderful job, Keith Andrews. No one's knocking Keith Andrews. I think he's doing a wonderful job. But what a lovely place to come in from. He's coming into a very well-settled squad with a club that are run very well, with a really good recruitment plan. What a lovely setup to come into. Other managers normally come into a mess. So let's use Ruben Amorim as an example. Ruben Amorim, right? No, but then you've not listened to a word I've said then, have you? This isn't about 1 or 2 footballers. This isn't about 1 or 2 footballers, Ash. This is about Brentford as a football club. Look where they are now. Look where they were a decade ago, right? It's absolutely mad, right? It's mad. People are, please, we've got to listen. Like, that's not. Brentford for years, Ash, have been losing their best players. For 7 years, Thomas Frank builds a team, lose best players, builds a team, lose best players. But they've got a wonderful scouting network. They've got a wonderful succession plan, and they do really well. And Keith Andrews is the beneficiary of that. Now, he's carrying that on. The question's going to be, how far can a club like Brentford go? Now, it's going to be really difficult because Brentford will probably lose more of their best players as they go forward, right? But my point isn't, oh my God, let's talk about Brentford, let's slam Brentford. Look at Ruben Amorim. Like, look at this guy. I told you he's got no brain in his head. Frank has a far superior quality of players than Ange. I mean, Frank, compared to last season, has no Kulu, no Maddison, no Solanke, no Son. Where is this far superior quality of player come from? It's listen, as I said, and as my uncle always says to me, if you actually sat down, if you got someone like Ken Kabani in a room, like if I asked Ken to come on, he wouldn't last 1 minute in a conversation because he's got no brain. There's no brain in there. There's no football brain. He just says things like, we've got a much better squad. How? We've lost 91 goal contributions from last season have come out of this team. 91. And replaced with who? We've not replaced the goal contribution. So this isn't, but it's, again, I'm trying to get it away from, this shouldn't be Angie's squad versus Frank's squad. This is what people don't get. Let me get back to my point, right? And again, Aussie Frank lover, but do you know what? I can automatically tell when I speak to someone who's either played or coached. You can see it a mile off. Someone like Ken is just spouting, and that's fine. He's angry. He's an angry Spurs fan with not a lot of IQ. So he's just spouting a lot of nonsense. But break it down. Kulu, Maddison, Solanke, and Son last year, was it 91 GA? 89 GA? I don't know. 89 GA, 91 GA, someone in the chat will tell me. We lost that. We've not replaced it. Kudus, a very good player. Kudus, not a GA machine. Kudus, a very good player. Other than that, we've bought in Tells and Oderbirds, Richarlison. Like, where's the GA coming from? When people tell me, right? When people tell me, again, look, you could see he's got no answer. Have you noticed this guy's got no answer? Ken, would you like to come on and we'll have a sensible football chat? Ken, of course it's about the goals, because the goals are about what win you games of football. Of course it's about the creative players that we're missing, right? You're right. It's not just about the goals. It's about the assists. Son's assists, Kulu's assists, Maddison's assists. We have stopped. We haven't got that in the team at the moment. It's this. Thank you. Thank you, Ash. It's the threat as well. It's the threat. But this, unfortunately, you get people like Ken who think like they're a 7-year-old on the playground. Oh, look at this team to last year. What does that mean, this team to last year? Like, what does that mean? I don't think we strengthened in any way, shape, or form. I said, I think it was I said this in summer, this isn't hindsight. I think we had a really poor transfer window. It was negligent. We didn't do what we needed to. But this whole thing of looking back at Ange, I don't know where that gets us now. I don't know where that gets us now. I don't know what these people are hoping to expect. Last year, we were completely gung-ho. This year, we're a lot more pragmatic, right? Now, I don't think either are right. What we've got to hope is that we evolve. I think we've got to evolve. Oh, Chris, you've turned into a troll, mate. See you later. Let's block that, Chris. He's gone now. What we've got to hope is that we evolve and we move into a more progressive football team. Now, there's lots of people pretending, yeah, but that's not what Frank does. But his Brentford team evolved many times. And again, I can always tell in the chat for the people that went and done their homework on what Thomas Frank did over the years at Brentford and what he didn't. And this is when you hear things like, yeah, but he doesn't improve players. Well, go and look at everything he improved at Brentford. And no, it didn't happen over 4 months. No. So when people go, who's he improved? Like, he's had 4 months and hardly any time on the training pitch. And again, this is where I always ask people. Sorry, somebody's just messaged me and said 86 GA without Sonny, Kulu, Maddison, and Solanke. 86 GA. 86 GA. Like that's crazy. And we had the whole window to do that, right? We had the window to replace that, and we didn't. To try and replace Solanke, we brought in a player who wasn't fit on deadline day. Like, what do you do with that? So I feel that I can always tell The people that want the best for the club and the people that need something now. I would love to wake up. I say this, guys. I would love to wake up and we're amazing and we play tiki-taka and I'd love it. I'd love it. You love it. Absolutely. Right? I would love that. Unfortunately, we're not that team. Unfortunately, when you've had years and years of poor recruitment, years and years of changing your managers, years and years of philosophies changing, it's going to take time. And that's why I'm so calm about it this season. That's why it's nothing to do with Ange. It's nothing to do with Frank. It's to do with the point that at some stage, Spurs are going to need to grow and learn and build. And when you've got people just constantly, their only contribution is it's crap, what the duh, cool. But I don't know where we go. I don't know where people want to go from this. You know, we've got a lot of fans that in the last few months, I mean, look how much people have absolutely waxed lyrical about Iriola. Must get Iriola. Look at Iriola. This man can't buy a win at the moment. Doesn't mean he's a bad manager. But now imagine he had this run in a Spurs shirt. Now imagine, I'm not knocking Iriola, by the way. I'm really not knocking Iriola. But imagine now Iriola, who's won 1 in 7, I believe. Right? Imagine he won 1 in 7. Fans would be going mad. Fans would be going mad. And that would be the manager they wanted. But 1 in 7, get out. It's rubbish. You can't do it at Tottenham. I don't think Tottenham is this big club that people think we are anymore in terms of squad. Here we go. We needed a ball-winning 6 and we got it. We needed a creative winger and we got it. We needed a striker, we got it. Are far better than Johnson, Snag and Basuma, who played there last season. Well, first of all, Mawani has not really done anything in his career to show that he is that guy. And he's on loan. And he came in unfit and has hardly played. Right? Basuma's not a number 6, so I don't know what you're talking about. You're just waffling. Right? And Kudus is a good signing. But Ken, you can't rip out 86 goals and assists and not replace them. You can't. I don't understand that. I think the difficulty I have with people like Ken is they seem so obsessed with the old manager that they're not actually supporting Tottenham. Absolutely, my man. Absolutely. Look, I would like to see as well. I'd love to see a time where Frank actually gets to play his best 11 for a few games. At no point have we seen it, right? At no point have we seen a really strong 11. Look, we're in a transitional place. We are, and we always are because we never build. But look, it's funny when I ask. Yes, Ken, but he's not a number 6. Ken, you're not very bright, are you? That's the point. Basuma's not a number 6. So a natural number 6 coming in is, of course, going to be better. He's not a number 6, mate. You can do these silly laughing faces. I've asked you 4 times now to come on. Come on and have a chat with me. Will you come on and have a chat? Let's have a football chat. Because you're very good with the sentences, but I bet you'd shit your pants in a one-on-one conversation. You would shit your pants, Ken. It's such a shame. It's such a shame that we've got fans like that. I'm not Mardy. I'm calm as you like. But if you keep being an idiot, I'm going to get rid of you as well. I'm as calm as you like. I've said this all year. And the problem with YouTube is the trolls don't listen, right? The problem is lots of fans don't listen. This is going to be an up and down place. See, again, Dexter Morgan is another one that trolls. Mate, you're not listening. This isn't about one player. We took 4 out Dexter. This isn't about Harry Kane. We've lost Kulu for the season, Maddison for the season, Solanke's missed half a season, and Sonny was sold. That's 4. That's 4 players. That's 4 players, mate. This isn't about Harry Kane on his own. It's 4 players. Every club right now, right? Let's have a look right now. Okay. If let's think of an example. If Liverpool, remember the Liverpool team that won the league with Firmino, Mane, and Salah? Imagine they went into the next season without all 3 of those and didn't buy anyone to replace them. And you took all those goals and assists. Suddenly, Liverpool aren't winning leagues, are they? Like, this is not. This is why when people, unfortunately, when people like Dexter say things like, I've not moved the goalposts. This is not that we've not got a Harry Kane. This is that we knew going into this season, we had lost Son's goals, didn't replace. We have lost Kulu for off-season, didn't replace. We've lost Maddison's goals, didn't replace. We knew Solanke's out injured and we waited until the last day of the window. Look, Jim, I'm so bored of Ange. You've got right, I'm blocking him. I'm so bored of Ange. I'm so bored of the Ange conversation. Are we allowed to have a conversation at any point that doesn't involve Ange Postecoglou? Like, this is so boring. Ange, for plenty of games, had his best 11. So when idiots like Jim, and I told you, he's an Australian fan. He's not a Spurs fan. He's told me that himself. Before people clip me, say I'm being horrible, he's told me that himself. He said, I'm not a Spurs fan. I support Ange. Ange Postecoglou had injuries. No one's doubting that. Ange Postecoglou was here for 2 years. He didn't have injuries for all of 2 years, right? It's so boring. It's so boring. Ange. Anyone would think this man left us in the top 4. He left us 1 place above relegation. 1 place above relegation. And these fans are pining after him. They are pining after him. Since then, people like Jim that don't know football, right? They know Ange. They don't know football. They know Ange. People like Jim have seen him go to Forest, and in 8 games, the Forest fans have gone, what is this shit? Right? Now, whether that's too soon or not, I think it's too soon, but it is what it is. I get it. He won a trophy. Thank you for winning the trophy. But when are we going to be allowed to move on from this name? When are we going to be allowed to move on from Ange Postecoglou? It's utterly embarrassing. Call me old school, guys, and let me ask the people in the chat. Call me old school, but what happened to actually being a Tottenham supporter, not a manager supporter? This, absolutely, like, it's mad, isn't it? It's mad. Like, do you remember when Pochettino, right? When Pochettino went to PSG, loads of Spurs fans started buying PSG shirts. I'm a Spurs fan. Frank's the manager right now. When he goes, somebody else will come in. He's the manager. And then when that person goes, there'll be a new manager. This whole notion, it's this, Mick, absolutely bang on the nail. Yeah, we are talking as though Man United fans talk about Sir Alex Ferguson. Absolutely. As though like Champions League trebles were won, and it's just a little bit mad. No, this is not true. This is not true. There were Spurs fans all over. Oh, Dan, but Dan, come on. Why do you have to compare him to anyone? I don't want to compare to Ange. What Ange did was horrible. I want to compare to what are we doing moving forward. This is the problem with football fans. We've always got to come. It doesn't matter what happened under Ange. It doesn't matter. He was sacked for doing a poor job. This new manager's come in. Now we need to see him build and grow in his way. Every game can't be, oh, but Ange won there and Frank lost here. Frank won here, Ange lost there. Ange's team wouldn't have conceded that. Frank, it's just, it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't do anything for anybody. We think about football in such a simplistic terms, and it's not. I've never known a club talk about their manager as much and their past managers as Tottenham fans. It's mind-blowing. I've never known a club talk about their owners as much as Spurs fans. It is mind-blowing. Surely the reasonable adult looks and says, right, Spurs are a mess. We've picked up a mess. We've got a new manager and coaching staff in place. Let's build and let's grow. 14 games in, all it is what about Ange? Ange. What did Ange do? Ange. Is he doing better than Ange? This time last year, Ange had this, Ange had this. It's like, oh my fucking God. Like, oh my God. Football isn't black or white. Football isn't linear. Football isn't linear. It's not, well, he did this, so he did this. This is a completely different manager with a completely different set of coaches that we need to build and learn and grow and move forward. As I said, I can always see in the comments people who have played the game or worked in the game versus those that just think football is a computer game. It's too much. It's too much. Look how many people last night predicted us to get battered by Newcastle. Right? Again, look, he can't stop talking about Ange. He can't stop. 13 points off relegation. I mean, we were 17th. Look, absolutely. I want to get, can we give the manager some time before we decide whether or not it's better or worse? Can we see it over the course of a season, over a number of transfer windows? It's too much. Big up to my man, George. How you doing, bro? Hope you're long time no speak. Hope you are well, my man. Hope all is good with you and the family. I just feel like if we don't give a manager some time, the problem is I'm aware I'm part of the problem as a YouTuber and the internet. It's why I don't really like YouTube that much anymore, because everything is overanalyzed. Game by game, people decide whether they want a manager in or not. It's absolutely crazy. People are now saying, I'm not Frank in or out, I'm Franked out. Why does everybody have to give a position? Why after every game? Before this show started, the first person said, yeah, right? The first person said to me, if we lose to Brentford, are you Frank out? Why is one game going to change my mind on what this club needs? Why? Right? If we're truly going to give a manager some time, want to give him some transfer windows, and this is a project or a plan or a process, insert buzzword, why is one game going to change my mind? It's just mad. Look, I didn't like it. It was a long time, and we've got a new manager, right? But you can give someone time. But you can. See, when you're saying you can't, you can. Football clubs do. So again, this is another one of those sayings. Notice that a lot of what fans say in chat rooms is just not how football clubs actually work. Right? Notice so many comments is what fans think, not how football clubs work. You can give somebody time because things improve in life over time. Things get worse over time or they improve over time, right? You've got to have time. But people have got to remember, right? What you've got to remember is we've got hardly any time on the training pitch because we're playing every 3 days, right? We didn't buy what we needed. We got gaping holes in the squad, right? And for me, worse than that, I think it's, if you look at the player attitude, I think there's a lot of issues at this football club that need to be sorted. And I don't think this is a quick 3-4 month fix. This is not a 3-4 month fix. And this is the difference. Football fans think this is Football Manager. Sometimes things click into place immediately. I didn't expect it to. I don't think the squad's that good. I think there's loads of issues. I think we've seen over the last 3, 4, 5 years, there are issues at this football club that aren't going to be sorted like that. They're not going to be sorted like that. It's going to take time. People like no offense, George, saying I wanted to give him time. It's only been 4 months. Like, and this is the thing. I ask these people, who is it that's coming in? Who is it that's coming in that everyone thinks solves everything in 4 months? I can never get an answer. 1 week, De Zerbi's the answer. That's a guy that blows up every football club he goes to. I mean, is that the guy you want to settle and stabilize? I don't know. Like him as a manager, but 1 week Glasner's the answer, but Glasner again plays pragmatic football. 1 week Iriola's the answer. Iriola can't buy a win for love nor money and his teams can't defend. Is he the answer? Xavi, is he the answer? A guy that's going to need top players to play the way he plays. He won't be able to play it with these midfielders. So I don't know. I'm asking, like, lots of people seem to think that there's a change that can be made and one manager comes in and there's going to be no pain. I would at least like to see this manager get his own players. I'd like to see him with Maddison, with Kulu, with Solanke. I'd like to see this manager get some time to build and grow. And now suddenly that's not wanted by any fans. It's not wanted. I don't know what Nuno's got to do with anything. I don't know what Nuno, like, but we're doing it again, aren't we? If we're just going to keep using the past, then the problem with this notion, right, is at the time, yes. And in hindsight, I can look back and go, yeah, we were a bit hasty there, right? And hindsight is there so that we can learn and grow from our experiences, right? But the problem is if we use this theory, George, if we use this theory, then the new manager coming in gets 14 games and then we sack again. If we do that, it's a very slippery very slippery slope. It's a very slippery slope because players from the outside are going to look in and go, what's going on at Spurs? Why am I joining there? New managers are going to look and go, why am I joining there? I get 14 games. It's a very slippery slope. Nothing has changed for me from what I said in the summer. I'm not surprised by it. I know so many people are surprised. Nothing has changed. I don't think a lot of these fans understand what a mess we were in. This club's in a big mess from top to bottom. Like, make no bones about it. This club's in a mess. It has been for years. Poor transfers, poor recruitment, poor medical staff, squad put together badly, managerial changes, attitude. The fans are not liking it. The atmosphere is not good. The prices are high. When you look at all of these things together, this isn't a thing that one man can come in and fix. This isn't going, right, you're the new guy in the dugout, fix everything. This is going to be a lot. This is going to be a lot of change. And change takes time. Change takes time. Look how long it's taken Eddie Howe at Newcastle to get the club really happy. Happy with their squad, happy with where they are, good atmosphere, good attitude. Like, look how long it's taken. Look at Emery at Villa. Been there 3.5 years, yeah? It doesn't turn around overnight. Some performances might, but to get the club and the fans on side and to get everybody happy and believing. But our fans want to keep doing this every 3 or 4 months. And as I've said, if Frank go, this isn't about, I don't, all the people who watch me every day will know this, right? This isn't a Thomas Frank thing. This is a whoever is the manager thing right now. We're going to be a mess for a while. We've had years of neglectful transfer windows. Years. Look at the summer just gone. What a shit show. What an absolute shit show. We signed 4 players, right, when we probably needed 7 or 8, and 2 of them came in the last week of the window. No planning, nothing, like it just poor. Maybe. I don't know. Listen, maybe that's the case. Maybe. Right? Maybe. Sure, George, I'll send you the link in a minute as well, my man. But the thing is, how can we give a manager 20 games? Like, what are we hoping changes at this football club in 20 games? The players haven't changed. The fans haven't changed. He's had no more transfer window. What are we hoping that's not changed? Like, what can possibly change in that space of time? We're so impatient because we need it now. Now. We need it now. I don't want to compare to Ange because it was dreadful. I don't want to compare to Nuno. It was. I want a new manager to be judged over time on what the new manager does, not on 14 games. And no, you're not listening. You're not listening. Again, it's really difficult, isn't it, when people are not listening to what you're saying? It's so difficult, isn't it? It's very, very difficult when people just don't. I said, I'm not just talking about the performance on the pitch. You speak to the Aston Villa fans now, they'll tell you how different the club is now to where it was when he took over. Saying how different the atmosphere is, the belief, the hope, like everything's changed. That doesn't happen over 4 months. You're not listening. You're not listening. Such hard work, isn't it? As I said, it's very difficult, very, very difficult to have adult football conversations when people aren't listening. Some managers come in and results go amazing. I don't expect that with Spurs because I don't think we've got the players for it. Aston Villa, when he took them over, were like 17th and had better players than 17th. So he went quickly up the table because he had better players than what Steven Gerrard was showing. I don't think we have got those better players. So he's not, again, you could tell this is another troll. He's not listening, just not listening to. Context is a wonderful thing. I know most football fans can't see past it's 1 game in the week or 2 games in a week. Look how much shit we must be dealing with in the background at this football club. Mate, it's mad. It's actually mad. Look, mate, I'm going to block you. You're not listening. You haven't listened, right? You're now trolling. I've explained it 2 or 3 times now. You're not listening. You've not listened. Listen, as I've said, if any manager finished 17th, yes, they need to go. We're not going to be 17th. I've got no doubt about that. But I just want to stop talking about, are we going to be in, out? Like it's so mad. And you're right, instant. This is a Spurs team that hasn't been great for years. But are we expecting that the manager comes in? But I don't want to compare to anything to last season. I want to let him grow and build his own thing this season. At the moment, how can you tell what's better than last season? We're mid-season, playing Champions League, injuries. Like, what do we do? Go, oh, well, look how great we are. Oh, our away record's really good. Oh, well, we're not better because our home record's not very good. Oh, we've got the same amount of points. I don't know. What does it matter? Why would we want to compare to a really shit season when we sacked a manager? What we've surely got to say is, right, where do we want to be in the next couple of years? Are we working towards that? It's just so, looking back at, like, well, after 14 games last year, Ange had this many points, Frank's got this. What's it matter? What does it matter? Different players are fit. We're playing in a different competition in the Champions League midweek now. What does it matter? I've said, I don't think Spurs fans deserve nice things. We are the most impatient group of fans in the world. Now, if I've been a part of that in the past, sure. And that's why at the beginning of this season, I said this year's going to be some real shit, some good, and we need to let the manager have some time, give him some summer transfer windows, get his own players in. At the moment, we're playing when we ripped out all of the GA from last season and did not replace. For me, I thought we had a mediocre transfer window where we didn't buy what the club actually needed. And I think there's so many issues off the pitch. Attitude. I think some players need to be moved on because their attitude is poor. Too many kids. This squad is not ready for Champions League football in any way, shape or form, but we're playing Champions League midweek, weekend, midweek, weekend, midweek, weekend. Big up, Jules. How you doing, man? You all right? Oh, you're on mute, man. You're on mute.
Sorry, that was my microphone. I'll put it on.
That's all right. How many times have you started a show and you've been on mute? Like, it's just...
Oh, yeah, it's nuts. I'm sat there, I'm talking, and yeah.
How you doing?
No,
how you doing?
Not too bad. Good to see you this morning. You know, I was going to go live this morning. I thought, let me have a morning off, man. Last night, the games, the build-up's been getting to me. I was like, do you know what? I don't even feel great. And especially throughout this worst period, I've been feeling like shit. I'm like, do you know what? I could not be asked to give another morning just being upset talking about Spurs. But I saw you live and I was like, no, this is a good discussion.
Yeah, man, listen, I wasn't going to go live. And then I thought, you know what? No, I will, because I think as YouTubers, we seem to, look, I said last night, this summarized YouTube for me. When Spurs were losing, I had 300-400 more viewers in than when Spurs were drawing the game.
Yeah.
And for me, Jules, I find it mad. But I thought, no, I'm going to go live. It's a good point at Newcastle. I'm going to go live because otherwise it looks like we just go live for misery, and I don't want to be that. But yeah, go on, man. Go on, man.
No, do you know what? I think you're making some great points. I think with regards to the toxicity of the Spurs fan base, I have to agree. I think it's been really bad, especially like the past couple of years. We're starting, and I know, look, people will never compare us to the big clubs, but we are starting to become like the Man Uniteds, the Arsenals, just the way that their fan bases are, where it's just constantly to and fro. You got one side against the other side. It's, oh, we're stuck. Some are still stuck in the Ange era. Go back to Ange. I hear Ange's name mentioned every other day, and it's like he's even gone to a new club and failed since us. Like, that should be enough indication for people to know that Ange wasn't the answer. But I do also think that, like, because for me, watching the game yesterday, that was the game where Fulham already gave me, I was like, I think I'm having enough of Frank here. With the game yesterday, and I agree, it was a good away point result-wise. But for me, and that's what I was trying to ask you in the chat, like, do you see anything performance-wise or any sign of it improving? Because that's where my problem is. I don't see a sign of it improving currently, and that's why I can't back Frank at the moment, because I've been backing him this whole time, Savva. I've been telling everyone, don't go Frank out, give him more time. But ultimately, there is a point of when it's like, there's no promising signs of improvement, so I can't continue to keep defending what we're not seeing.
I think the problem for me is, this is the difference with me, George, is as I said in the summer, I don't expect Spurs will play good football because I think the footballers aren't good enough. My biggest issue, and my fans, that sounds well arrogant. My viewers, sorry, I didn't mean that. My viewers probably get really sick of me saying this. I don't think until Spurs sort out that midfield, I don't think anything improves. And I was having a really good chat with somebody yesterday, not a YouTuber. I was having a really good chat with someone yesterday, and they said, let me ask you, they said, and this isn't a Spurs fan, they said, do you think if Thomas Frank had the chance, would he buy most of the players in this squad? If he had the chance at Tottenham, not at Brentford, would he have bought in players like Sarr? Because it's not the style of player he had at Brentford.
Yeah.
Would he have bought in a Brennan Johnson at Spurs? Not Brentford. Would he have bought in a Brennan Johnson? Would he bring in Richarlison's? Would he? And I thought, I don't think he would. And for me, I think you can see the caliber of players, the style of players you wanted in the summer, George. When you look at Eze, good on the ball, physical. Morgan Rogers, good on the ball, physical. Gibbs White, I know you're not his biggest fan, but he is good on the ball and he is physical. Proven, physical players in midfield. George, I get it, right? Listen, I'm not an idiot, right? I don't watch Spurs and go, oh my God, this is brilliant. I must, right? I get it. But what I would like to see for once, and Perchie said this the other day, and I thought it was a really good point. Wouldn't it be lovely to get to the stage, George, where we're seeing a manager that's got the majority of the team is his, or all the team is his, and we go, right, you've built this over 2, 3, 4 windows. Now you've got no excuse. This is your team. You've had 2 summers. You've had time on the training pitch. You've molded them into how you want. Right, what are we seeing? And then if it's shit, go, mate, you've got no excuse. Right now, I just think, and this isn't a Frank thing, George. I keep trying to. This isn't a Frank thing. If we sack Frank, I'm going to say this exact same thing with the next guy.
You need to go through that process with a manager. Right. I get where you're at. I feel like
short-term pain, man. I think we need short-term pain, and I get it. On your eyes, it makes them bleed. I get it, but I don't know, mate. I don't.
You know, it is for me, because like I don't mind watching bad like counter-attacking football and stuff. Defensive football is actually quite interesting to me. I'm someone that doesn't mind seeing like the Jose and Conte errors. I didn't think watching Tottenham was horrible. I thought it was a very good tactical games and tactical bouts against some of the other sides. But I'm watching like the coaching, the selection. I feel like there's too many things going wrong. So for one, I think his team selections have been way too varied to the point that he doesn't even know what his best 11 is. He doesn't know
I agree on that.
how to. And I understand it does take time to find your best 11. But there does get to a point where you need to just persist with 111 to see if you can make it work with that. He doesn't know his best 11, doesn't even know his best midfield, let alone best attack. And that's a huge problem for me that 4 months into the season, you still can't identify that. We're looking at things yesterday.
Be, though, George, sorry, just quickly, can I interject? Don't you think that some of that could be the fact that we are playing Champions League every midweek? So one of the things that we criticised Ange for was he never changed the team when it was available. He never changed the 11. People like Podro and Podro, who's Podro? People like Pedro Porro, Kulu, Van der Ven. They ran into the ground and got their injuries. So like last night, every motherfucker lost their mind about Mickey Van der Ven not playing.
I didn't mind.
But Frank said he's played 3 games. This is our 4th game in 10 days. This is an injury-prone player. And then he brings Danso in. And I thought Danso was excellent, by the way, last night. But unfortunately, you've got to rotate. But I do agree. I don't think he knows what's best. Right now.
There's definitely got to be rotation. There's a degree of rotation that's fine. And I thought dropping Van der Ven was smart. Like, it's the first time I watched him because if people know, you watched the Fulham game, you saw how many lung busting runs he done. Those hammies looked like they were on their last legs. So to take him off and drop him made a lot of sense. But like, even when you go down to like coaching, because Savva, this is one thing you'll understand is I look at our build-up and I think he doesn't even coach build-up. He's not even trying to help us build up. He's skipping through the midfield and saying, look, we're going to go long and win second balls. But even when we're trying to do the go long and win second balls, we're playing with 2 DMs that aren't pressing. We've got 2 DMs that shield the back line and don't do no pressing work. So I'm looking at, I'm saying like some of the principles that he's putting into the team, coaching-wise, are very backwards. Like they don't even make sense. So I've just got so many problems with what I'm seeing on the pitch.
Do you think it would be like that? Do you think it would be like that, George, if we had Kulu and Madison in this team right now? Like we could talk about new players coming in, but but with players that we've got, do you think if we had Maddison and Kulu right now, do you think it would still look like that in the build-up? Or do you think we'd be a little bit more ball retention, progressing through? Because so many times what I'm seeing is like yesterday, Johnson and Udogie they saw a lot of the ball going out wide left to them. Both of them look absolutely clueless as to what to do in a final third. James Maddison and Kulusevski wouldn't. I'm just asking the question.
No. I think definitely, and I agree with that. I've always said once he gets his attacking players back, the attack probably looks better, and naturally you got more experienced players that can use their own initiative to create. They don't need a system to create for them. But at the same time, I feel like, is there even a way where Frank's going to fit Maddison and Kulusevski into the same team? Because there is only one number 10 role, and I can't see him playing Kulusevski or Madders in the 8 because he likes to play two very deep players in those positions. So I still think we're going to have the problem with the build-up. He's still going to try and play very direct football. And even like yesterday when we were attacking, I want to get frustrated at Pedro Porro because all Pedro Porro does is just cross into the box. Yeah. But that's instructional. Like, it's very clearly that the instruction is set that you just keep putting a cross into the area. Someone needs to get to it. We're playing Kolo Muani up top, who at times yesterday looked really good, but he had the ball at his feet when he was doing that. You're getting the ball at his feet and saying, run at your man. And that's how you need to. Like, I don't feel like he's doing the best to get the best out of the players we have. And as much as I understand, he needs to build his team. He needs to play his style of football. There needs to be an adjustment to, we don't have Kulusevski and Maddison right now. How can we get the best out of the players we've got? And I don't think he's doing enough. Like, he's focusing too much on trying to stop the opposing team rather than trying to get the best out of our team.
I hear that. I mean, I think what's funny, when you look back, what I find quite interesting, and you might disagree with me here, and that's absolutely fine. We can do that. When he was playing 4-2-3-1 quite a lot with the Paulinho Bentancur double pivot, so to speak, a lot of people were getting frustrated, but we weren't conceding many goals.
No, yeah.
Then if you look at the 3 games where he changed away from that in a row, we were as wide open as a doorknob, right? Like, you look at Arsenal, you look at PSG, and then you look at Fulham. So in those 3 games, he completely came away from what fans said they didn't want, and suddenly the floodgates just opened. Now, I'm not saying, oh my God, we should play Bentancur Paulinho every game. I wonder whether or not he realizes how fragile we actually are as a mentality, as players at the back, i.e., I don't think Udogie and Porro are defenders. That's always been my thing. Yeah. I genuinely don't think we've got good fullbacks. I think we've got good wing backs. So I don't know whether or not he's come away from that to try and expand a little bit, and we've gone, oh my God, like, wow, we've been ripped open. I agree. We need to get more. Listen, I think only an idiot would say we don't need to work on the going forward and more shots. And what I'd like to see him do now is I'd like to see him try and find a way to integrate Simmons into this team and start giving him minutes. I agree he's not played well. I think you do have to earn your place, but equally, I think that you need to play your way into form. So I want to see a bit more of the Muani, Kudus, Simmons, and then whoever on the left. So I don't think any of them are that good. I just want to see something out, George. I want to see something out. I don't think genuinely, as a Spurs fan, I don't know if I've got the energy, right? As a YouTuber, by the way, it's fucking amazing if Frank gets sacked because the shows go mad. But as a human being, I don't know if I've got the energy to go through all this again. We will have, I keep using these examples, George. You will have half the fan base that want a Glasner, half the fan base that want an Iriola, half the fan base that want a Xavi. Some people want Holness. Some people want De Zerbi. Whoever you bring in, I fear that they will come in, realize the squad can't play their way. They'll get an immediate manager bounce. And then when it all settles back down to normal, we'll be sitting here going, oh my God, we've won 1 in 6. This new manager's shit as well. What do we do? And I just don't know where it ends, mate. Where does it end?
Yeah, I do agree with that. And that's why I'm very, like, as much as I did say Frank out and I have seen enough, I am very much of the thought that, like, I don't know who is next. Whoever does come in next is probably going to have very similar problems, like you said. I do think there is some managers that may be able to get better out of the squad, but even so, like you said, do they need to get better out of the squad? Some of the squad just need to be sold. Some of them just aren't good
I
enough.
agree.
And I do agree with that. But
Who would you want? If I could say to you, again, George, realistic. I know lots of fans chuck the names of managers that are never going to leave in December in a season, but realistically, who can Spurs go and get now in December that you go, this manager is going to make all of these problems go away? He's the guy that everyone gets behind.
See, I don't think there is a guy that everybody's going to get behind. I've always wanted Xavi. I've just because I thought the way that Spurs are set up right now, young, hungry, just a team that probably needs someone to bring together the mentality, someone that can be a process. And yeah, look, the football is slightly better with Xavi, but it can be boring. I think people need to understand it's a very possession-based style where he likes to just, pass yourself to death at times. And yeah, that can be boring.
We'd complain about that, by the way, George. Yeah, we'd complain. I love Xavi, by the way. I would be more than happy for Xavi to come here. But what I've said over the last few days, George, is can you imagine Xavi trying to get this group of players playing that possession-based football? I just don't think there's the passers capable of that in this squad.
We need more technical players in there, 100%. I do think we missed the technicality. And I think yesterday you saw quite clearly that, like, you saw on the pitch, Tottenham and Newcastle, very much similar team. We're just physical teams. We got some bodies in there, a lot of runners, but we don't really have proper technical players. Newcastle do have a few of those, and that's what helped them sort of bridge the gap in the game. Even Miley, like, they've got some really good technical young players, but for us, we lack that heavy. We need to sign quite a few of those. But I do agree with you. Like, away from that, Xavi's out of a job, so he's an easy choice. But for managers that are in jobs that will come to Spurs right now, I don't think De Zerbi will come. I think he's building something over there in Marseille that he's quite comfortably doing. I think Seb Ones,
his temperament, George. Like, I like De Zerbi as a manager, but can you imagine? This is a very outspoken.
Yeah,
he blows up in every. Can you imagine that at Tottenham? Some fans will go, "This is what we need," but I think we need I think we need some stability. I think we need some calm. We know the issues at the club. I don't need a manager coming out and telling me the issues at the club. I think we all know them. I don't think it helps anyone for this public. People always want everyone called out in public, and I don't think that. I don't think
it helps. Not when you're a manager. No, I feel like especially at Spurs, we need someone that's gonna, smile, just say yes to everything sometimes, and you can give a little bit of pushback, but we definitely love a bit of a yes man over here. Someone that can just work with what they've got. But I think for me, the biggest frustration is, and I suppose we're at fault for this as well, because when we were speaking about Frank in the summer, it was he's a coach, and I'm just not seeing enough coaching. Like, apart from Van der Ven,
but that does take time, right? Like when we talk about coaches, that relies on having time and time on the training ground, right? As well. I think the key thing is when you look at what a lot of players that have been coached better, it's not that managers go into a club and they immediately get better over 2, 3, 4 months. Normally you go, God, look how different they are 18 months on, right? Yeah. And that's the problem is, I think we're expecting that so many players will just suddenly go, ta-da. And I agree with you, but I want to see that over time. I want to see, look at Poch. Poch coached over time. His first 3, 4 months was not good. But over time, you could see, right, okay, I'm starting to get to know my best 11 now. All right. He had the Harry Kane moment. Maybe I'm clutching at straws here. Maybe last night's Romero goal can be the catalyst that we kick on. Get the win against Brentford, then beat Slavia Prague. Now you've got 2, 3 games in a row where I don't know, mate.
No, I do agree that, like, it could be a catalyst to, like he said, because the one thing I do agree is Spurs showed some mentality to get back into the game despite a very unfortunate knockback, because that penalty decision was stupid. Like,
we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah.
And as much as I wanted to get onto Bentacle, because he is always doing something stupid. Like, he's always doing something stupid. He's the center of attention in any bad mistake in a goal, but. Ultimately, I do think that did show some character, show some mental to get back into. But again, that's by Romero, who always does show mentality and character. He's the one player you can rely on to show that, even though he was a bit like reckless at times. And again, like yesterday, I don't know about you, but the substitutions, I was very confused when he brought off Bergvall and Moani, because I thought they were our two best players on the pitch, two most positive.
It worked. It worked though, George. If you actually look, when he made the substitutions, we actually looked a lot more threatening going forward. I can't believe I'm about to say what I'm about to say. I actually thought we looked a lot more threatening going forward when we brought on Tell and Richarlison, because listen, I don't particularly rate Tell, but what I will say is when Tell got the ball yesterday, he looked like he wanted to make something happen quickly. Richarlison was Richarlison, but he was a pain in the arse. He was making their defenders follow him and foul him and niggling. Xavi Simons, for me, I thought played well when he came on yesterday. I thought he was getting into those little pockets. I agree with you. Listen, I thought Bergvall yesterday did some good things. Do you know what I think Bergvall needs to stop doing? I think he needs to realise not every single time the ball goes to him does it need to be a cheeky flick or a trick, right?
Yeah.
And that drove me mad.
Was annoying me. It was the second and third one. I was like, bro, the first one looked nice. Let's just leave it the first one. Like,
yeah. The first one created nearly a goal. And then after that, I think it was Sarr played a ball into him in the box. And you're thinking, take a touch, swivel, shoot. And he tried a flick again. And I'm like, and it's moments like that where you must think Frank must be pulling his hair out. Because when we say we don't have any XG and we don't shoot, it's moments like that where a top team, right? So if you saw, I'm not a top team. If you saw Palace Man United at the weekend, I don't know if you saw that. The ball that was played in by Bruno for Xerxes' goal. Bruno Fernandes played the ball into Xerxes, clever little touch, turn, shot, right? When we get in those areas, everyone's trying to do a back heel or a flick. Bring it down, swivel, shoot. And I think if Bergvall can do that, he could be a really good attacking midfielder. But my worry is, for me, there's not really a lot of output from Bergvall. That I know he's a kid. I'm not getting on his back, but look,
I think he's been used incorrectly. I think he's more of an 8. That's the problem. I do think he keeps playing him as a 10, and it's very clear to see. Maybe in Europe he might be a 10 because you get a little bit more space, a bit more freedom. But in the Premier League, he's just an 8. He's one of our most physical players on the pitch. I generally just think you put him in the 8, and if he played Sarr's role yesterday, I think we would have done better, because Sarr was all right. But in his last couple games, he's
talk to you about Papa Sarr. Listen, Papa Sarr for me is every reason why I don't think Tottenham will ever be a really top team. Now, it will sound like I'm knocking the lad. He is a run-of-the-mill midfielder. He runs around, he works hard, but whenever he gets the ball, George, he looks like a rabbit in headlights. He looks surprised. He's like, I've got the ball. I don't like. So many times you're thinking you've got grass to run into. And I was taught as a player growing up, when you've got grass to run into that grass, like you've got grass. And he runs, but the ball's never. Look, I will say this. I truly believe that if Spurs get a ball-playing midfielder, we can get Maddison and Kulu, one of them, back into that team, get Simmons up to speed, get a proper left winger, and sort out that striker scenario, I don't think we're going to be a bad team. I just think that we've left ourselves painfully short in many areas of the football pitch. And because of that, I think it's left Thomas Frank with some doubt as to, well, what is my best 11? And what we're seeing, and I don't know if anyone in the chat, just while we wait for George to come back, I don't know if anyone agrees with me on this. When a manager normally changes his 11 this much, it's because he doesn't trust one player in a set position, i.e., he changes on that left wing all the time because I don't think he thinks any of them are good enough. Tell, Odegaard, Johnson. He changes who's the number 8 because I don't think he thinks any of them are good enough. Who should be in behind the striker because he doesn't think any of them are good enough. By the way, Matt Cox, I saw you last night, mate, having a go at me in Sean's chat when you said I was being negative after the draw when I was one of the only ones being positive. Thank you, Matt. I saw you. George, what do you think to that? In terms of, I think that he changes the 11 a lot. definitely in certain areas, like the left winger gets changed a lot, the attacking midfielder, the number 8. I think he changes it a lot because I don't think he knows or thinks any of them are that good that he goes, yeah, that's my guy. So, for example, if Spurs had signed, I'm just by example, because I know people in chat rooms go fucking mental. If Spurs had signed Garnacho or Lookman or Rashford, right now you'd be going, that's my left-sided guy. That's the best player at the club.
Yeah.
As the left-sided guy, he plays. Right now, I don't think he knows, because I don't think we even know, George, as fans. I did an experiment last night. After, as always, whenever I go live, right, the team news comes out and everyone loses their mind. It doesn't matter what the 11. So I said to everyone in the chat after the 11 was announced, right, give me your 11s you would have played tonight. George, they were all different. And what does that tell you? We don't know.
We don't know. We don't know our best 11.
Know.
And I don't think we do. We definitely don't know our best 11. I think we know our best players in certain positions. But I feel like you said, because some of the players haven't been playing enough back-to-back games to build rhythm, you can't like outright say they should be starting there. I feel like, for example, Paulinho should be out and out 6. As much as he's not the best on the ball, he's the best at breaking down the play. So if you want to play him defensively, you could just play him there and you know what you're going to get from him. I feel like he gives you everything Bentancur gives you and better. He's just better at everything Bentancur does. So I think Paulinho is someone that needs to be set. And I get the rotation a lot of the time might be because he's a bit old. He's pushing on and maybe his legs are going. So he can't play 2-3 games back to back in 3 days time. I totally get that. But I do feel like part of the problem has been because he bends and folds to the opposition so much. He focuses. He generally just focuses too much on what they're gonna do. So, like yesterday, for example, from like a coach perspective, I got why he started that team. I got why he wanted Brennan Johnson to be the runner in behind. He wanted Kudus to take up the space and just combat their midfield. We needed physical players in there to just combat with them. But at the same time, I think me and you could both agree, Xavi Simons, and the only reason why we're saying Xavi Simons is because he's our only technical midfielder. If it was Maddison, we might have been saying Maddison. If it was Kulu, we would be saying Kulu. But Xavi Simons is our only technical midfielder. He has to play in these types of games because once we get on the ball, we're not doing enough to break down their defenses. He's going to be the one player that will make the difference. And ever since, I think he's not started a game since the Copenhagen one. That was his best game in Spurs. And yes, it's Copenhagen. It was a rubbish team, but he looked really positive. After that, he got dropped for Chelsea, came on in 5 minutes, and you can't really expect a player who comes on 5 minutes into the game to feel himself. He didn't get chosen and stuff. So
I would like to see, look, to be on like yesterday's game, I agree with you. I think I get why he had that midfield free. I think it was to match the legs and the energy of Newcastle. Thing is with Newcastle, when I say they're a good team, I don't sit there and go, oh my God, they're a brilliant passing team. They're physical. They are, you look, Thiaw and Byrne are physical players, right? Even Livramento's a big lad at right back. Gramares, Tonali, these boys are stocky. They get stuck in. Voldemada, I mean, he's huge, isn't he? For me, what I would like to see, thank you, Aussie Frank Lover. Yes, I am human as well. Yes, I know I'm on the internet and you can see my face, but calling me a cunt 400 times a day isn't very nice. Big up to you, Aussie Frank Lover. Thank you. What I would like to see, I get it why Simons didn't start yesterday. What I would like to see, George, this is only me, against Brentford at home. And I'm not knocking Brentford. I think they're a good team. But I think at home, that's when I want to see now. I want to see him go with Mawani up top, Kudus on the right, and Xavi Simons in the 10. Right? That's what I want to see. And then Paulinho, let Paulinho be the number 6. And then pick your poison. Gray, Sarr, Bergvall. There's not much to choose, right? That's what I would do. Maybe Tell deserves a start on the left. That's what I would like to see against Brentford. But again, I think we've got to be very careful as well that whatever he's doing at the moment, the negativity coming from the fans every game for the 11 he picks is a bit too much, right? So I'll give you an example. when Brennan Johnson starts, it's, oh my God, Brennan Johnson's shit. What is Frank doing? When he doesn't start, what is Frank doing? Brennan Johnson's one of the only goal scorers in the team.
Yeah.
Right? When Odeberg starts, what's he doing? Odeberg's crap. Oh my God, but Odeberg's our best left winger. Like, I feel like he's literally on a hiding to nothing every game at the moment. I truly do. And I think that we as fans need to calm down just a little bit. Let's get the win against Brentford, right? That'll be 4 points from 6, in which was 2 difficult games. Then beat Slavia Prague, and you're sitting nicely in the Champions League stages. And then hopefully a little bit of confidence starts going in, because confidence is huge. Confidence is huge. And I'm hoping last night gives us that bit of confidence, mate. I really am.
Yeah, I do hope so, because I feel like going into this game for the weekend, it's even bigger than it usually would be, just simply off the back of Frank's going up against his own old club. You know, it's one of those games where he's in a very difficult period in general. And we're away again, aren't we? It's another away game, right?
Who's that?
We're at Brentford on the weekend, aren't we?
No. We're I always say White Hart Lane. We're at
Hart Lane, yeah. Oh, so even bigger then. We're back at home against that club, and we need a win. Like, this is a must-win game. I was thinking of the Fulham game as a must-win game, but this is even more of a must-win game. So we do need to get behind him. I do agree. Like, and I feel like even like the way that Vicario was treated the other day, I didn't agree. I was with Frank. I feel like we were doing a bit too much, and that it shows the distaste just of in the distaste Spurs fans have towards Spurs at the moment. I think was just on full show rather than Vicario in particular. But a massive game this weekend, because, like you said, if we don't get the 3 points now, how embarrassing is that? This is a Brentford team who we took 6 of their coaches out of there. They replaced them with a set piece coach, and they don't look any different. In fact, they might look even better. They're getting a lot out of that Ego Thiago. They're playing some decent football, and they still look dangerous.
But I mean, you've got to remember, this is a Brentford team that their recruitment plan is brilliant. You look at the players they've gone and bought, right? So they let Norgard go to Arsenal, but they bought in a Jordan Henderson who is perfect for what they need. An experienced leader, sits in the middle. Same thing that, to a different degree, same thing that Sunderland did. Sunderland went, I mean, I think this is the signing of the season by any club, by the way. And I know Spurs fans are going to hate this because it's an ex-Arsenal player.
Xhaka. Yeah,
I think Xhaka to Sunderland, whoever managed to get that deal over the line at Sunderland, has played an absolute blinder. He's a leader. He's good on the ball. He's got the winning mentality. He's been there, seen it, done it internationally, Champions League. I think that was a great signing. But these clubs, not so much Sunderland, but Brentford seem to have a really good, just a rotation of recruitment. And I think it was really telling for me, George, if in the summer, if you remember, when there was that moment in the summer where Thomas Frank said that that the recruitment team didn't understand what he wants.
Yeah.
And he said this is going to take time. They're going to, and I thought that was really telling that, and I think that should have shown fans that it's not as easy as we think.
Yeah.
That it's not just scout this player and we go, buh. It's right. This is me. This is what I need. This is how my teams function. Can you go back and show me players that you've scouted that do this? Now, I'll give them the pass in the summer because Frank only joined midway through June. I think it was midway through June, right? Yeah. I won't give them that pass for January and the summer coming up because they're all in place now. They're all in place. They should all be, this is their job. Like, I know fans think the transfer window's open on January the 1st. That's when it starts. Their job right now is they're speaking to agents. They're having recruitment meetings. So I'm really intrigued, George. I'm really intrigued to see who are the next 3-4 players we bring in, right? If it's more Papa Sarrs, Grays, Tells, nothing's changed at the club.
Mm-hmm.
If it is, we are going to buy more physical players, more experienced players that Thomas Frank wants, then I can say, right, cool. All right, Thomas, look, you're now getting your players. Show us your, what's your philosophy? What's your style? Because I get it, George, I get it. Lots of people want to see a philosophy. I'm frustrated. Most people are, but I can't be, I can't be contradictory to what I said in the summer. I thought we were going to have a year of pain. I did. which is why I'm cool and calm about it, right?
Yeah.
I get why others aren't. Can I ask you, moving to the game, can I ask
Yeah.
you, let's look at the penalty decision. I mean, Spurs have just got back into the game with the diving header from Romero. We'll go to that in a minute. For me, football's gone mad. I mean, for me, that was two players tussling, 50, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. What did you make of the penalty?
Yeah, it's awful refereeing. And you can tell, like, the referee, I don't even think the referee wanted to give the pen because he was staring at the monitor. And I think he was just staring at it like, what am I looking at here? This is usually what you call fair play. Both players probably, it could be a foul on either player if you're looking at it because Bentancur did initiate the contact. But then Dan Burn he was very smart with the way he got his arm because he put his arm in a position where he sort of hooked the back of his head. Yeah, so he couldn't really, Bentancur couldn't move. So then at the point of Bentancur's trying to get him off him and they fall over. And it's like, okay, this is just stupid. Like the players are just they're tussling the box. They're doing stupid things. You ignore it and you just continue the game. But now they're looking at these things and they like when they started to slow it down, I'm like, what are they slowing it down to see? You're just seeing the same thing over and over. You can say that Bentancur wasn't looking at the ball, but whenever you're defending a corner, you're usually not looking at the ball because you're just trying to distract the defender or the attacker. You're trying to put them off their game. You might be talking to them, and then you eventually turn around once the ball gets crossed in or once it's like just come into you. But honestly, I thought there's just horrible refereeing, and I can't even lie. I don't want to be this guy. But it does seem to be that it's at St. James's Park. They get a lot of decisions going their way over these last couple of years.
I think that the problem for me, you're right. I don't want to be the guy that calls out refs. I'm normally not one that goes, oh, we would have won if it wasn't for this way, because you never know, right? But for me, it was a lot of tussling. I think you're right. I think Dan Burn was super clever. I think he knew exactly what he was doing. People might say Bentancur was a tad naive, but for me, I look at it and go, get it. But both of you get up, like get up. It was a bit of a tussle. You kind of feel like it was a home decision. Yeah. I wonder whether or not that would have been given away at Old Trafford. Do you know what I mean? For the away team, I wonder whether or not. But look, I think for me, that was he converted the penalty. I think in the 86th, 87th minute. And I think what was really pleasing for me was I think all of our heads dropped as fans, didn't it? It was like, oh, for fuck's sake, like, how have we lost that game? To then come back and keep fighting and get that goal, which was just a really strange overhead kicking away. It seemed like it took forever to get from his foot to the goal. But does that put the myth to bed, George? All week we've heard he's lost the dressing room. They don't want to play for him. They hate him. We came back 2 times from goals down in a very difficult ground. Does that show they're fighting for him still?
Yeah, there's definitely fight there. And I think I don't believe the myth that the players are like completely unhappy with him. I do think that there maybe is some frustration with the constant change in tactics. I feel like just in general, I think players would prefer to, like the Ange style, at least they knew what they were going to get with Ange and they were attacking. And to them, it's just, we're going to go out, we're going to play this way. It's easier for them to understand. So naturally, I think they're more content to play that way. But I do think it showed some fight. We definitely showed some grit to get back into the game. Even in the PSG game, as much as I didn't think the performance was great, we showed determination even down to the 90th minute where we was attacking, we were trying to go forward, we were trying to score goals. It's just that the performance in why didn't we have this same performance in Arsenal? And that's what it is, I think, Savva, for many of us fans, is like the biggest game against the biggest team. Like for us, especially at this point when Arsenal were top of the league, we were like, we need to just show some character in this game. And we lacked all of it. And that's where I think a lot of people started to lose, or start to think maybe he's losing the squad because they didn't fight for him on that day.
Yeah, I think it's difficult, right? Because Arsenal, obviously,
they're so much better than us right now. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I mean, look, they are so much better. So I get it, though. People wanted to see that fight, that hunger, that desire. And I think what we've got to see is next time we play Arsenal, look, Arsenal will bang up for it. By the way, the one thing I will say, if I'm going to give any credit to, not credit, but I think that's the one game I've watched Arsenal where from minute 1, I thought this Arsenal team in business. Normally I watch Arsenal, they're solid, hard to break down, and then they grab their goals in the end. That game, it just felt like they were, right, let's show who are the bosses of North London. And I know Spurs fans hate to hear that, but they were superior. They are at the moment superior to us. When we next play Arsenal, I want to see that we go in from minute one and it is a battle. I don't expect us to outplay this Arsenal team, but I want to see a battle. But look, I thought we did really well to come back last night. Lots of people were predicting 3-0, 4-0. We're going to get battered. And it's interesting, right? Because Newcastle have had their manager. I think Eddie Howe's been there for 4 years, maybe
4 years now. It's been a while.
3.5, 4 years. They do have a stronger squad for me. They do have Eddie Howe's squad now that's completely. I think there's maybe 4 or 5 that were there from when he joined, but it's his squad, and we're level with them in the league. So I'm going to show the league table. Listen, I'm not saying it makes great reading, George, but I'm going to try and put a little bit of a positive on this. Let's take out Arsenal at the top. Let's take out Man City as well. If we do look at the table there, look, for as bad as we think we are, look how squashed it is between Newcastle, Brentford, Tottenham, Palace, Everton, Liverpool, Man United, Sunderland. And Brighton. There are 3 points separating 9 positions. And even if we go down to Bournemouth, Fulham, look at that, right? So from Fulham in 15th to Brighton in 5th, which is a Champions League place, right? We're talking about 5-6 points. It's crazy in there at the moment, George.
Yeah, I mean, at this point of the season, it always is. It's sort of what you expect, I suppose, sort of 9 positions of similar points. And yeah, I do like, when I looked at the table after the game, as much as I was really unhappy, I did look at it and I was like, maybe I'm a little bit entitled, because I was speaking to Mitch and Specs the other day, the Newcastle fans, and they were very giddy about where they are. And I was like, they're below us. And I feel depressed right now. So maybe I'm just a bit entitled. Maybe I'm too used to Spurs being a sort of battling for the top 4. So when we're watching the seasons play out, I'm just like, yeah, this is nowhere near the level. So yeah, there is that part of it. I think Thomas Frank can easily turn this around. And let's be honest, like if he won 3 games in a row, we'd very much be in 5th or 6th position. We'd be in a very comfortable position. It's just we need to build up the games. And like I said, I think if we can build up some wins, Brentford, Slavia Praha, and we start to get some momentum, it could change. But yeah, the table, I mean, we're not doing terribly from the table perspective. Definitely not.
It's mad, isn't it? Because the way I look at it is for me, it's all about staying in touch. I think if I was looking at this table and this was, I mean, if you're talking about your 25 games into the season and you're 11th and you're 13, 14 points off European places, I think, yeah, you've got to panic. I think we've been through a bad spell. You can see from our form, we've been through a bad spell.
Yeah.
And still in touching distance, right? Like a win at the weekend puts you straight back up into that top 6, 7. Obviously, it depends. There's games tonight, yada, yada, yada. But I feel like as long as you're in touching distance of European football, keep in touching distance. What I can see, though, is if we lose to Brentford's, then I can see it is going to get a lot more toxic. And I'm not naive to this, George. No matter what I want as a fan, managers are going to eventually live and die by their results. That's not Frank. That's every manager. Now, I'm going to ask you this. I've asked a few people I've worked with this. It's interesting to see. Man United came out, didn't they, when Man U were in their worst spell this season. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe came out and said, this is my guy, right? Now, Man U couldn't buy a win at the time. This is my guy. He's here for 3 years. Now, I'm not saying we need to put a timeline on it, but do you think there's any way in which, even if Vinay is not saying it publicly, that they are thinking that, look, hang on, we paid 7 million to get rid of Ange, 10 million to get Frank and his coaches. This is my guy. We're just going to let the noise from the fans be noise from the fans. Or should they come out and do what Sir Jim Ratcliffe done?
Do you know the non-biased part of me, just taking my personal opinion of the football and stuff out of it? I do agree. I think obviously we paid a lot of money to get Frank in. We bought 6 coaches with Frank. It's the first time we backed a manager like that in a long time. I think since going back to Pochettino. So when you look at it, it's like maybe we do need to do that. I do think it would help if, because I think for us, Savva, and us as Spurs fans, the biggest problem has been the lack of direction from the board. We don't understand the direction we're going in. So at least for Man United, when he comes out and says that, fans can be unhappy, but at least they know the direction is Amorim for the rest of the year. Whether you like it or not, we're sticking with this manager. We understand what the direction is. I feel like we need that as a club, better direction and communication from up top to say, do you know what, look, I can understand it's been a bad period, guys, but we brought Thomas Frank in, all these coaches, because we believe he's the right guy for the job. We're going to do an evaluation at the end of the season, as everyone does, you know, end of the season evaluations, and we'll look at it then. But until then, there will be no managerial change because we think Thomas Frank is the guy. They need to come out and say something like that. So even me as a fan who isn't a big fan of Thomas, I'll be like, do you know what? Cool. I can't say nothing.
What does that do for the fan base? Like, because I'm so bored, right? I'll be honest. But I'm so bored of being asked every game, are you Frank in or Frank out? It's like, I've made my position very clear, right? I want to see out this season. I want him to have the January transfer window. And I want to see, all right, Thomas, you're in a bit of a bad spell at the moment. Show us. Show us between now and the end of the season that you are able to go. Now, that doesn't mean that we have to go, oh my God, we're finishing in the top 4. Show us that we are evolving as a team, that results and performances are getting better, right? Show us that there is a plan. Show us. After every game when people say, are you Frank in or Frank out? I keep answering the same way. Fine. Stack him. I'm not going to die on that hill. Stack him all you want. Now show me a plan. Yeah. And as we talked about earlier, the plan will be a new manager comes in, and in 14 games, we're doing this very same thing. Some fans want to keep the manager. Some fans don't. My worry is, George, is that if we sack this manager now and bring in another manager, I think it starts to show the world that we are in an even bigger mess than we know we're in. Now, are we becoming attractive to players? Are we becoming attractive to managers that are looking at us going, what? They sacked Ange, brought in Frank, and then 4 months later they're going again. Like, now, as a manager, if I want to pay off, fine, right? But these managers are wealthy, right? If I want to pay off, I'm thinking, go to Spurs, get sacked in a few months, great. But if I'm a manager that truly wants to build, that truly knows I need 3 years, 2 years, whatever it may be, I might look at that and go, hang on, this border, they're too trigger happy. They've got their finger on the button.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I think our border's been a mess. And I think even before we were having conversations in the summer, like where we feel like we're just in an 18-month cycle, and we need to break out of that cycle ultimately, because we get a manager, he starts off well, goes rubbish, sack him, start the new cycle again. And I feel like we're stuck there. So there is a point to what you said earlier. Even as much as like I'm struggling, but we do need to just push through the tough time. You need to push, and hope that maybe come the end of the season or near the back end of the season, the second half of the season, we start to see some structure, some real identity, and some good football. But look, I think for the club, they need to come out and show maybe in the January transfer window. Look, we've got, like I say, 3 or 4 weeks to plan. For one, that there's been change from our previous windows, because we know for the past however many years, going back 10 or 15, we only sign players in the last 2 weeks of the window, or week even. That's got to change. He needs
go early. Show there's a plan. Go early.
That's it. Show that we actually have a plan going into it. And like you said, going in there and get some proper players, because it's very clear to see he wanted a left winger in the summer, didn't get that left winger. Make sure he gets that left winger, so then we could be like, all right, now let's look at this Thomas Frank team with a proper attack. Can he do what he says he wants to do? And then we can really judge him. Because no, look, I do agree, even myself, we are being a bit premature with judging how good he can be, because right now we can see the floor of the team, but we don't know the ceiling of the team. You will never know that until you have your best players available. So he does need to get... There is some aspect where I look at it and I'm like, give him a chance to see what this ceiling can be, because once he gets Solanke and Kulu, this could look like a whole different attacking team, because they are very good attacking players.
I truly believe, right? If listen, I don't know when Kulu's fit. It feels like our players break their toenail, and then 6 months later we're still sitting here going, "Where are they?" But let's look. January's massive, right? And let's be fair. If we're talking about sacking managers, like what we're 28 days out from the January transfer window. I'd quick maths, 28. Yeah, 28 days out from the January transfer window, right? I think if you can get Kulu back in January, right? And thank you. Yeah, please, everybody, please do subscribe to George's channel. I think George has just put the link in. You've just gone over 3K, did I see?
Yeah. No, 4. We're really at 5. We're nearly at 5. Like last couple 100 way to 5K.
Oh, sorry, man. Sorry, I don't know why I said 3. Sorry, 5K. I saw something about road to 1 million or something like that.
Oh, do you know it was yesterday? I was doing a joint stream with Jimmy, so that was his stream.
Oh, I see. I was going to say, I thought you were on more than that. I think the key thing for me is, if you can get to January and maybe a Kulu comes back and you've bought in that left wing, I don't know, maybe a Lookman on loan, for example, suddenly you're looking a little bit different. And it's amazing what a couple of footballers can do. And at Spurs, we should know that more than anyone. Who remembers that window? Like we all do, right? If we don't, then why not? That window where we were really struggling under Conte. We were struggling. And then Kulu and Bentancur came in and it completely revamped half the midfield. It completely revamped the middle. It completely revamped the right-hand side because before then it was Kane and Son with another, but now it was Kulu. 2 players in January could really revamp the side, plus a couple of injuries coming back. You don't know. So I would just ask everyone to just be a little bit patient. Listen, by the way, I'm not even the biggest fan of Solanke, right? I'm not the biggest fan of Solanke. What I actually think is, I think Mawani for me, we're seeing bits every game. Yes. The more he's got fit, the more he's starting to play every game now. We're just seeing a little bit more and more and more, right? But can we at least see a manager have a year? Well, I'm not saying the patience is limitless, George. I'm not. Yeah. I'm not saying we just go, oh, give him 5 years, but give a little bit of time. And I liken this too. Do you remember when Poch was at forget Spurs? Remember when Poch was at Chelsea? And he started terribly. He started terribly in the first 10, 12 games. And then after that, you could slowly but surely see he molded it, changed it, adapted it, and they just went.
The end of the season really well.
So
the end of the season really well.
It can happen. Savva, would you have given Ange a second season? I can't believe we're still talking about Ange. No, I wouldn't have, because I thought that he got worse and worse and worse as the season went on. That's my point with Frank, is if we see a second half of the season that looks like the first half, I will be very worried. But I would like to see, how does he change? How does he evolve? Maybe once we're at the Champions League and playing once a week, maybe do we see that suits us better? I don't know. I'm just trying to be level-headed. I know that's not good for YouTube. I know that's not good for views and drama, but I'm just trying to be a little bit level-headed.
No, I do agree. Like, some extent of things Manny's saying in the chat, like, this conversation's a good one to have, because I think a lot of fans are in a very similar position to me where they're struggling. They're really struggling to see the vision, but ultimately there is a point of when we just need to look, whether we don't see anything or not, we just need to give it time and hope that we can see something. We don't have to necessarily just sack, and that's going to make a change. You're right. We could sack a manager. We've seen Man United do it. They've sacked a manager, brought in like a Ralph Ragnick. He's been shit for the rest of the season. They've pretty much writ off the season. They've writ off multiple seasons because they've had to sack and then sign a manager that's not really good just to get them till the end of the year. And we're not in a position to do that. I feel like we've been in this sort of this cycle for a few years now. I feel like we're going back. Go back to that second Conte year. We've just been in a cycle of poor football and just constant, just getting used to the let's sack a manager. We need to get out of that. We do need to get out of that, and we need to start to just process.
This is my worry, George. So what? Listen, as I've said, this isn't. A lot of people associate that if I say don't sack the manager, it's, oh my God, you love Frank. It's nothing to do with Frank, right? We can sack a manager, but we're just in an endless cycle.
Yeah,
we're in an endless cycle. And when we look at other clubs that have done well in the recent years, Bournemouth have raised their bar because Iriola's been there now, 3-4 seasons, whatever it is. Aston Villa have had Emery now for 3.5, whatever years they've had. Newcastle have had Eddie Howe for 4 years, whatever. Right? Arteta's been at Arsenal for 6 years. Pep's been at Man City for 8-9 years, whatever it is. There seems to be a pattern forming that these clubs that change their manager constantly. Look at Palace. Palace now settled with Glasner over a number of years. Palace are now not an easy team to play against. They're difficult. But as Spurs, we seem to think that the answer is going to be change the manager, change the manager, change the manager, change. And I get it. I think Ange had 2 years, right? I didn't see that the football or anything was getting better. I'm not asking that Frank gets 2 years. I'm asking that can we see out a year? Can we see out something? Because nobody. The thing is, I've got loads of people in my chat like this guy always says, as of now, he doesn't deserve a second season. We have regressed. I mean, how can you regress when we were 17th last season? We haven't regressed. At the moment, what we're seeing is a team that are having a hangover from last year in 14th that need to desperately get better and better. But if we're saying a manager doesn't deserve a second season, let me ask and see if I get a question. I love this, right? This guy, just this guy. You tell me 3 things. 1, which manager comes in right now? Go on, cool. I'm on your train. Sack Frank. He's shit. He's crap. We've regressed. Sack him today, the 3rd of December. Who are you bringing in on the 4th? Right? And Carlson, tell me what that manager has to do in the next 14 Premier League games for you to not want that manager sacked and to deserve the second season. You tell me, right? If you give me that metric, I'm comfortable with your opinion. But when people just shout, doesn't mean anything. Tell me your metric. Tell me your metric of what does Frank need to do as well for the rest of this season to deserve a second season? I think that's a fair question, George.
No, I think it is. I think it is. And that's why, like, as much as I said Frank out yesterday, I'm not like heavy, get him out of the club, because I don't have a solution myself. I'm the same as you, Savva. Like, whenever I question people why they're Frank out, or like why you're so heavy to get the manager out, you must have a solution how to get better. I don't have a solution. So as much as I say Frank out, I'm not going to sit here pushing it in people's faces and saying, you have to be Frank out as well, because I don't think any of us have a solution as to how it gets better. I'm just not happy right now. That's all I can say. I'm not happy, but I don't have a solution to get better.
I get it.
And that's how you're allowed to be sometimes, isn't it?
This narrative, amazing. I went through this earlier in the show. I think we've got to remember, right, when people are talking about the Brentford manager now, Keith Andrews, isn't it funny that we're praising Brentford for what they're doing whilst absolutely mocking the man that built it, right? Think about it, right? This Brentford team that he's picked up, Thomas Frank built this, right? Not saying, oh my God, it was a one-man club. Thomas Frank was the manager that oversaw this for 7 seasons, that was part of the recruitment setup, was part of the coaching, the planning, bringing in players, the succession planning, right? So we immediately praise Keith Andrews. As I said earlier in the show, George, for me, and this isn't knocking Keith Andrews in any way, I think he's done a really good job. Fair play to him. But there are managers that go into clubs, George, that pick up a mess. Ruben Amorim goes to Man United. He's picked up a shit show from Ten Hag, right? Frank's come into Tottenham and picked up a mess. We finished 17th with 22 defeats. Frank Andrews has picked up Brentford in the best position they've been in as a football club probably ever in their history. A mid-table Premier League team. 7 years ago, they were bottom half of the championship, right? So it's okay for Keith Andrews. He's got the infrastructure. They've got the scouting. They knew the players they were going to bring in. And when people are saying, but Andrews lost his best players, right? Didn't Frank lose his best players at Brentford every single year for 7 years? And not once was in the bottom 3. Not once in 4 years in the Premier League did Thomas Frank go in the bottom 3. And most promoted teams come up and go straight back down. So we want to praise the new guy that's had 14 games, but the guy that put them on that level, he's shit, get him out. it's madness.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
madness.
It doesn't really make sense. No, it doesn't, because like you say, I don't think Keith Andrews does as good as he does without the foundations that Frank has set. And ultimately, it's not like he's playing a different style of football. He's had to implement. They're playing very similar to what they did last season, and that's why they hired him, because they wanted a sense of continuation from Frank, and he's given them that.
Have we ever we've never had that. If I look back for the last 30 years as being a Spurs fan, I can't remember. I only say I've been longer than 30, but I say because the Premier League era. I can't remember where we've ever had a continuation. So a manager's done well, and then we've just got the same type of manager again that's continued with. There's always a boom, 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 but it's always from one shit show to building something to a shit show. Brentford haven't got that right now. Slot took over a bloody good Liverpool squad, and he just continues the good work, got the best out of them, wins the league. Right? Now, all of a sudden, now that players have started to go from the Klopp era and he's bringing in his own players, seeing it's not as easy. Yeah. It's not as easy. He's building his own squad, right? So I just think a bit of patience. That's all it is.
Yeah, it definitely needs some patience. And do you know what? That's a great point there regarding the continuation, because I was speaking to Luke about this literally yesterday, and I think that's some of the biggest problems that we just have when we change managers is we never get managers of a similar style. We always change in the style of the manager that we want, and again, it goes to like the structure from up top and the direction that they lead the team in. It creates chaos because they do chaotic moves, and we go from attacking style to a defensive counter-attacking style, and it's like there is going to be a period of just shit football now for them to get used to it, and we have to accept that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And for anyone in the chat that's saying to me, he didn't pick us up in 17th, we start at 0, like, yeah, that's a lovely fairy tale to tell yourself. But this group of players finished 17th last season. Whether I'm not talking about Ange, just these players finished 17th last season. These players are so used to losing games of football that anyone coming into this club is picking up a nightmare. And as I said, sack the next one, sack the next one, sack the next one. But at what point do you turn around and go, you're my guy, we're going to give you time? Because fans won't go through it. And the biggest example I have with this, right, is these two managers, George, right? Both managers that I like. This isn't anything to do with me mocking them, right?
Yeah.
Let's start with Glasner, right? Oliver Glasner started last season and he didn't win a game for 9.
Yeah.
Right? Then he played Spurs, obviously, and Dr. Tottenham helped them out, but he didn't win a game for 9. Now, if Glasner had done that when he joined Tottenham Hotspur, if he joined Spurs and for 9 games, we didn't win a game, our fans that sit and pretend he's the right guy and this is the guy to back and this is the one for the project, they're going, he can't do it. This isn't Palace. They're a bottom half team. We're Spurs. Get him out.
Yeah.
Iriola, he didn't win a game for 11 when he started at Bournemouth. Was it 11? Right? And again, imagine you rocked up at Spurs and said, guys, give me time. 11 games. Our fans are going, this is shit. Get him out. What's going on? We can't win. Somebody's going to need time. Somebody.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you're right about that. Someone's going to need time. I do think that it's not been a terrible, awful start. I just think we've not had enough telling signs. And I think from those managers with Glasner and Iriola, the one team that Palace and Bournemouth fans will tell you is they could see an identity in what they were trying to do. They could see the style. Especially Glasner, you could see that like he was getting something out of the players and they just weren't able to win. But like still he was managing to, you could see the signs of how this could get better if he makes it work. Now with Spurs, there's minimal signs, but I think we need to see a little bit more. And then that's when we might get to the point of when Spurs fans are like, the results ain't there, but you can see that there's something coming with this team. And that's where I think a lot of people are struggling is we just...
No, I get it. I get it.
No.
And I'm hoping we see that when we buy the right players. As I said, I'll go a full circle. I think the biggest issue for me is our midfield. I don't think we've got midfielders and that's the engine room. You look at Chelsea. Chelsea went and bought Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. Chelsea are a really good team because in the midfield, they can boss games. Arsenal, Zubimendi and Rice. Newcastle, Guimaraes, Tonali, Joe Linton, right? Man City with Rodri, Tajani Reinders. I always forget the other one. Who's the
Gonzalez?
Gonzalez. That's it. Yeah, Nico Gonzalez. I look at us and go, we need those. I'm not saying we're going to get Rodriguez, but we need a Wharton. We need a Stiller. We need an Edison. We need someone. This is the way I sum it up. We need that bloke that we go and buy, and we don't say, oh, battle it out with Bergvall, Gray, and Sarr. That we say, no, you are the main man. We've brought you in. This is the guy that every Spurs fan says, you are our number one midfielder. Yeah. So it's not, oh, who should play this week? It's this guy plays, who plays with him. And I don't think we've got that in any way, shape, or form. I don't think Bergvall's that guy right now. I think Bergvall's got promise for the future. I don't think Gray is anywhere near good enough right now. For me, I feel sorry for Gray. I think that boy should be out on loan, playing week in, week out, getting 90 minutes and learning to be a footballer and actually putting some strength into himself. Paulinho, we know, can't play 2 games a week. With his age and his injuries, he can't play 2 games a week. Bentancur, so many injuries have ruined him. I think once we get that proper left winger, start to get a few players back, I genuinely think, George, it will be okay. And I think people will calm down a little
We'll
bit.
balance out a lot better more. We could. I think we could definitely balance out a lot more. The deep line playmaker is key. I think it's so key to just our build up, and even away from Frank, just in general, not having a profile like that who can build from deep is it's a bit concerning. And I know some people pointed it out in the summer, they didn't want Paulinho because they wanted a player of that profile. But I think it goes to what you said there. There's not many of players out there. There's an Edison, there's Stillers, there's Andersons, there's Whartons, but they all cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And
but
even
Palace and Forest should not have better midfields than us. That's the point, right? Like, if Palace can go and find Wharton, if Forest could go and get Anderson, we need someone like that steadies the ship. Even a Yao Gomez of Wolves, somebody that gets on the ball, steadies the ship. And I think we're going to see very, very different football. However, I will put this back. We talk about Frank so much. Isn't it funny? All I've heard for the last 10 years, and I'm part of this, is Levy, owners. Now, all of a sudden, I'm not hearing it. But where's the backing from them? Where's the right? Show us. Go and, I don't know, say to just example. Say to Palace, what do you want for Wharton? We want 70. Cool. Boom. Done. Show us. I don't care. Go and spend what is needed to bring in top players. Then, if you bring in those top players and Spurs still look shit and Frank's not getting goals and XG and all this shit, get rid of him. But get the players first. Get the players. There is no coincidence that the same players that lost 26 games of football last year are struggling this year. There is no coincidence. There's not. You've
Far too
got to
many
get
people
better
don't
players.
realize that mental side of it, because it's like what you go back to and you said there. These players are too used to losing. I've said this on my channel so often, and even on the panel shows I go, it's like the players are very, that they don't really class to get him from Blackburn.
Yeah, you think we scouted Blackburn all that time and bought back a £3 million centre back? They got Adam Wharton, who within 6 months is in the Palace team and in the England team. Like, the levels of scouting, George, is frightening from these smaller clubs to a bigger club. It's frightening.
Our scouting is just bad in general. I feel like
no. Sorry, by the way, no. If you actually look, Adam Wharton went in the January.
January, yeah.
And then he played that 6 months in midfield, and if I'm not wrong, was taken to the Euros.
I'm pretty sure. No, I know he was selected for a squad. Now, I can remember him getting injured because he's had quite a few injuries. So he may not have played, but I definitely know that you are right. In that back end of the season, people were calling him one of the best midfielders in the league already. Like, just watching him play. They all got Wharton's so
him and Mainu. Do you remember? Because Mainu broke into the Man United team for the second half of the season, scored the goal in the cup final, and then he was on the plane for the Euros as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, but My question is, where's our scouting for this? Now, we've gone out and bought Gray, Sarr, and Bergvall. They are the last 3 central midfielders we've bought, not DM in Paulinho, who we haven't even bought. At no point did somebody at Spurs think, stop signing children. We need a man in midfield that runs the show. We need a Carrick, a Modric, a Dembele, a Declan Rice, we need one of these. I will take this to my grave. I will die on this hill, George, that we have signed terribly in the midfield. Terribly. Our midfield can't pass the football.
We focused too much on younger prospects. Like the Gray signing, got it, but at the same time, we invested too much on a player that wasn't going to be good enough for the next 3 years. Like, we all know Gray physically, like, technically, he's probably he's there, he's ready, I think, technically, but he is so far off physically that he's not going to be able to play and start for us even this season. I've said it to myself. I would start looking at Gray playing maybe in 2027. But that's how I look at academy product. I still look at him as like an academy player, Tyrese Hall or someone. And even then, I can envision a player like Tyrese Hall, who's gone on loan for the past year, could come back into the team and look better than him because he's been playing all season. He's been getting used to the physicality of like a League One team. So I think for us, in the midfield, we've targeted the wrong players. We haven't signed, and to be honest, we just tried to do too much, like cutting corners. That's the problem, Savva. We tried to sign a young player to save ourselves from spending 8 million on a top player. But let's be honest, if you probably look at the fees for Bergvall, Sarr, and Gray, they probably come to about 60 million anyway. So should have just put the extra 20 and got the star signing, and then picked in 1 or 2 of these players to come as the backups.
But I'll ask you, right? If you look at the midfield that started yesterday, right? Sarr, Bergvall, and Bentancur. How many teams in the top half are putting out midfields that poor? If we're going to be brutally honest, how many of the teams are putting out midfielders that poor?
It's a good question. I mean, top half of the table.
Even bottom half. If we're going to be brutally honest, I look at Fulham with people like Sander Berg, right? Like, we haven't even got a Sander Berg, a strong, experienced Premier League player who gets on it, gives the ball, does the simple. We don't have it at all. And we want to bring in managers. I get it. We want to bring in managers that play lovely football on the eye. Maybe get some footballers that are capable of it first. Like and that's the difference. When we get to transfer windows, look how many of our fans say things like, oh my God, Arsenal, but Zubimendi, he's shit. And you're like, fuck, like.
I really like Zubimendi. Them coming out was madness.
Class. And this is the problem, right? Is you've got players in this squad that have been bought for about, and no, by the way, he's nothing like Paulinho. If you actually look at the difference in their passing, nothing like it. This is the thing. You've got to do your homework. Go and look at Data MB, for example. Sander Berg's a very good passer of the football, but not a sexy name, not a big name signing from a big club. So our fans go, no. But again, till we get those players, I truly think we've had 6 managers in 6 years. We've got players that are being bought for different managers, different philosophies, different times. And now we're seeing that. We're seeing a mishmash of players that aren't really set for one formula. They're not. And that's why I want to give Frank the time. Get the players in for what you want to do. And then we can turn around and go, this works or this doesn't. Right now, you bring in another manager. You've now got a manager who's got Conte's players, Ange's players, Nuno's players, Frank's players. Like, it's just, you've got another manager going, fucking hell, I've got a mishmash of what are they? Like, what are they? Like, we're not strong out wide other than Kudus. We're not strong out wide. We're not strong up top. We're not strong in the midfield. Our fullbacks are wing backs. Like, what are we? What have we built for, George?
Yeah.
That's my worry.
We've got a lot of decent players. We like this. What you said about Chelsea earlier is a big point, because like when I look at the Chelsea team, I can clearly highlight that. Yeah, they've not got the most amazing team as a whole, but they definitely got 3 game changers and 3 players that you could borderline say are world-class level in that Enzo, Caicedo, Cole Palmer. And the best thing about that is that's the middle of the pitch. That's your middle trio. That's your 10, 8, and 6. At least you can rely on your midfield to pull you through games because they're a level above everyone else. We don't have one area of the pitch where I say we're stronger than a lot of other teams here. We don't have that no more. We used to have that in our attack when we had Kane, Son. Just having those two made our attack the best in the league, if not second or third best most times. But now the midfield's some way off. We are about a mid-table midfield. The defense is, the quality of the players might be above, mid-table, but again, the way they play together, it's about mid-table level. And then the attack, without Kulu, Madders, and Solanke in there, it's a mid-level attack. So we're seeing very much the players perform to the level that they are in some aspect.
Do you know what? It's interesting because if you actually look at if Kane and Son were in this team, they would just paper over all the cracks like they have done with other managers and other teams, right? Like if Kane and Son were in this team right now, we'd be about 6, 7, 8 points better off because they score loads of goals and get assists. Yeah. And we'd all be sitting there going, oh, we're top 4. Everything's great. I think this is the first time in 11 years we've seen no Kane, no Son, no one to paper over the cracks. And we're actually going, we've not actually built a good squad. We relied on 2 or 3 players. And unfortunately, we've not replaced them. So let me show you this, Jules, just quickly. And I'm going to wrap up in 5 minutes. See, this is just by way of comparison. So if we look here, right? So the orange is Sander Berg. The yellow is Paulinho. So you can see when that guy said they're similar, they're not similar at all. You can actually see here they're the polar opposite of being similar. One gets on the ball, forward passes, good forward passes, key passes, right? The other, you can see, is a ball winner, right? The other is a winner of duels and a winner of possession. So this is my point. Until you get... by the way, Sander Berg, this is me using the base level of what we need, George. I'm not saying go and buy Sander Berg. I'm saying we want these types of players. You ready? So that was Sander Berg. I'm saying we need someone like this. So this is Angelo Stiller.
I knew instantly once you start to put a Stiller, Wharton, Anderson, you're just going to see like the diagram go as a circle. It's going to become a circle because
you see what I mean, right? Yeah. This is the level we're at now. Give me a Spurs midfielder that's a number 8. Pick any of our number 8s.
I suppose you could throw Sarr in there. He's probably played the most. Yeah.
Right. So Papa Sarr he's okay with the forward passes, right? He plays a few forward passes. The percentage of forward passes is good, but not progressive passes. Doesn't win many duels, and his possession one's quite good, right? If you now look at Bentancur, right? These guys, and look how far away these guys are, right? Look how far away our guys are from this. Now let's go to somebody who's not Stiller. So again, this is somebody I think everyone wants Adam Wharton, right? So an Adam Wharton, progressive passes are great. Key passes are great. Forward passes are okay, right? Duels 1 are good, right? But look at the levels of these players to ours, right? And I always do this, George, because I think it really does show, right? It really does show how bad we are at the moment, right? So if we look here, Bergvall, right? And Bergvall is a talented young player, right? But again, you can see when we say he's good enough, look, forward passes, forward pass percentage, key passes, progressive passes, that's not his game. He is a ball carrier. You can see there, he's a ball carrier. And until we get players at this level, like we're seeing there, that is, I know I've left Angelo Stiller there. Let's go to like Yao Gomez of Wolves. By the way, this is someone at Wolves. Look at Yao Gomez of Wolves. Let me remove Stiller. Look at Yao Gomez compared to ours. Right? This is a guy that plays for Wolves. Right? This is what we are lacking desperately in our midfield. Passers of a football. We have
we just need a volume passer. That's what we need. We need someone that can keep the ball ticking, that just picks up someone who likes a lot of touches of the ball. Because at the moment, I feel like everyone runs away from it. Nobody wants to pick it up from deep. Nobody wants to just consistently be the conductor in midfield. We just don't have a player like that. Like we need someone, even at like Locatelli's a great person at doing this.
Look at this guy. Now,
keep it
now
ticking.
imagine, George, that guy is picking up the ball off the back four, right? Now, all of a sudden, you've got a conductor. Now you've got the guy going, right, all right, cool. I'm calm. I'll have the ball in possession. Right, you run off me there. The fullbacks can go. Don't worry, I'll sit and just somebody that can pass the football. I am desperate for it. And now, right, this is why when people say it's tactics, none of these players do it in their career. This is Elliot Anderson, right? Look at Elliot Anderson, right? Now compare him to what we've got. Look at the levels. Like this is the levels of player that we're saying when we're saying these players are good. They're okay, but this is the level. This is look. So I'd say a few more. Like this is when people are going, we should be top four like Chelsea, right? Look at players like Moises Caicedo. Look, like Enzo Fernandez, right? Don't know why. I can never seem to get Fernandez. Oh, there we go. Look at these players. Look at how good they are with their key passing, their forward passing, their progressive passing. It's compared to our midfielders, it is night and day, George. And this, for me, I will die on a hill, is the problem at Tottenham Hotspur.
So just on that, Savva, really quickly, because I know you're going to end up, but like in the summer, we weren't necessarily linked with any volume passes. And it seemed like even a lot of the number 10s we were linked with, because I use data MB quite a bit. And one of the things that pointed out to me is we looked a lot for ball carriers. Like a lot of the players we looked at were ball carriers. Do you think that maybe Thomas Frank's not targeted a volume passer in the midfield? Because we haven't seen any links or anything like that.
I don't know. I think that what he wanted to do, I think that that's why he wanted Morgan Gibbs-White.
Yeah,
I think he wanted. That's why I think he wanted Morgan Gibbs-White. I don't think Morgan Gibbs-White was looked at as a 10. I think Morgan Gibbs-White was looked at as an 8. Now, look, I don't know. By the way, this is Hugo Larsson that people are asking for. Look, if we look at Morgan Gibbs-White, I don't know. I've not seen it. So Morgan Gibbs-White is a real anomaly of a player, isn't he? Look at him. His key passes are brilliant. His progressive passes are good. His carrying is good. His possession one and duels is absolutely non-existent.
He's been awful this season. He's had some good parts, but he's been awful. So, but even to have those numbers in a really bad season, he does show some quality. And I suppose something that we're missing in it. I think he would have brought us. I think at Spurs he would have been a different player. I don't think he would have been playing as bad as he is right now. I think he would have had a little bit more confidence, playing around better players, and also not going through this like 3 managers in bloody 3 months. I don't think that's helped either.
No, of course. So, by the way, people are asking me to look at Christian Romero for some reason. I'll look at Christian Romero. Who is it that people want to see Christian Romero against? We know he's a good ball playing centre back. I don't know, like people are saying, Savva, compare Romero's passes to other centre backs. You'll understand how Frank wants to play. No, I don't think that's quite true. I think he's probably playing that through necessity. But anyway, look, for me, that's where I'm at with it, George. I'm calm, I'm cool, I'm collected. I am also sane enough to know that results will dictate a manager's tenure. Mm-hmm. I'm all for people just going, he's crap. But give me solution, not you. Give me solutions. Have a solution. Don't just say to me, you want Glasner and then tell me that you want really pretty football, because the two don't go together. Like you've got to have the plan that you want. No YouTubers are cool for a month, mate. You clearly didn't watch my channel all window. I have said for years we need to revamp the entire midfield, mate. For me right now,
I definitely wanted another midfielder. He wanted, I mean, we were having that Conor Gallagher situation. He wanted a player like him, someone who can keep it ticking. So I'd agree. Me and Savva done all transfer videos throughout the summer, and one thing he did maintain was he wanted a proper deep line playmaker. And there's a lot of people out there that said that. I think we needed both. That was the problem. Spurs has needed a monster defensive 6, and we needed that type of 6 as well, because we haven't had those profiles for a long time. That's what
George, every window we get to, we need this. I think we need this, and this. Like, I don't think it's one or the other. Look, I do need to wrap up the show. I've got a call at 1 o'clock. But look, let me just do some super chats quickly. Jordan, way too generous. You're so generous to me. Thank you very much. Said Frank can't win. When we don't win, fans moan. And then when we do win, fans moan. We only score from set pieces. Look at Iriola's recent record, and we're supposed to believe he will transform our deadbeats. Jordan, I'm telling you, mate, I like Iriola, but you're right. If he came in here, I don't think that this is going to be what everyone thinks it is. He was flavor of the month. Jordan, you are bang on. Thank you so much. Big up to Daniel Field, always with a super sticker train. I'll leave Sean to do the choo-choo noises. Big up to you, Daniel. Big up to Queen Ellie, new member. Queen Ellie, I've just seen your WhatsApp as well. I'll listen to that in a minute and get back to you, Ellie. Much love to you. Hope you're well. And Queen Ellie, thank you, Ellie. It's nice, actually, every now and then to hear that people are appreciative rather than just being called a cunt every day. By the way, thank you to the people that sent my wife messages on LinkedIn telling her that her husband was going to be killed. Thank you for that. That was lovely last night. Yeah, George. Yes. Yeah.
These people are getting more and more strange by the day.
Mate,
I mean, why?
She hasn't even got my surname on her LinkedIn. So they've gone and done their homework to find, like, that's fucking mental. People telling my wife via LinkedIn, my wife don't give a fuck about YouTube, that they're going to kill me. She's like, oh my God. And I'm like, no one's going to kill stuff. Like, why would, anyway, thank you, Ellie, for all your hard work. Sav had a great shows and can all be a bit level-headed. Absolutely. Thanks, Ellie. Love you to bits. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you. Big up to my man in America, SOF, who said, morning, Sav. I've heard fans moan about lack of shots. So I went and did a little research. I was surprised how many games last season we had less than 10 shots and fewer than 5 on target. That was under an attacking manager. Mate, look, I thought many games last season bored me to tears, but people seem to think it was attacking. Listen, you're a legend. Thank you so much. That's very generous, my man. And Jordan, again, very generous. The last one saying people praising Keith Andrews for what he was doing at Brentford as if they would take him at Spurs. Yet if we appointed him, these fans would be saying we've appointed a Brentford mentality manager. Mate, this is what they will do with Glasner from Palace, Iriola from Bournemouth. All of these managers that are flavour of the month. I've heard Reggie Labrie. If we sign him, it'll be he's from Brentford. Mate, you're a legend. Thank you very much, George. Thank you. Much love. Let me quickly see if anybody is live. I've got a phone call in 1 minute that I must take. Who's live? Customization, redirect. There we go. Search for videos. I'm going to send you over to Kate and Jimbo. When you get there, please just say Savva Raid or FHTV Raid or whatever you want to say. Much love. Share the love. Thank you, George. Take care. Subscribe to George. Much love. And as always, come on, you Spurs.